2, 2, 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Let me know in chat if you can hear me. You won't be able to see me just yet. Just let me know if the audio is coming through with me. Beautiful, thanks IP. I am here. See, there I am. I'll be here in a sec. Whoop. Right, hello, welcome to the early bird special, the pre-show. We've started early today. Yes. It's yeah, look, this is the time where I live, where I would start the show normally. Well, for at least the last 6 to 8 months, I've been starting the show at this time, my local time. But because you guys, where you live overseas, have daylight savings, you guys have gone forward or back or wherever you've gone in time, you've jumped in your TARDIS. I don't know what you've done, but for some reason I have to start my show an hour later. Now that's actually quite hard for me because I'm already starting it pretty late here so that I can catch most people at a reasonable, godly hour where you live. The whole purpose of my show being at the time it is, mainly is so that I can catch a few people in the US, most people in the UK and Europe, and the very odd person on this side of the world in Australia. Definitely no one in New Zealand or anywhere like that because they'll be fast asleep now. But believe it or not, even the eastern part of Australia is in daylight savings as well. So they've disappeared way into the future, and they'll all be snoring their heads off right now. So I've lost them as an audience most likely, unless someone's feeling a bit, what's the word that you can't, when you can't sleep? Yeah, that word. Someone's feeling like that, they might want to watch. But anyway, big hello to all of you guys. Thanks for joining the extended pre-show. We're going to have some fun, I think, with this. The whole point of this is to do the Saturday Sonority stuff that we usually do. And the guys that will join us normally, they'll be coming at normal time. So the official main show starts at 2 o'clock UK time, which is in about an hour and 10 minutes away. So in the meantime, we can have some fun, like chatting to you guys already. I can't actually believe it that there's already a whole bunch of you guys in chat. Nice to have you, obviously. Now let me put my ugly mug in the back in the corner there so we can talk to each other at the same time. Yeah, good to see everyone there. Who have we got? I think the first person that jumped in, Yellow Guernsey time again, would be Eddie. Good to see you, Eddie. That's F Rose, if you're wondering who that is in chat. Eddie's the guy that has done the last 2, and this week the 3rd Name That Synth videos for us. So he's much loved, because it means that I don't have to do it. It's one less thing I have to do. There's a lot to do on this show. Martin was next. Big hello to Martin. That's Daren T, if you're wondering who that is. Future World Machines also jumped in. Good to see you. Daniela, nice, always nice to see Daniela there from Central Europe. Lovely to be in that part of the world one day again. I miss traveling so much. We've also got JX3D, one of my Patreons. We'll talk about Patreon a bit later. JX3D is awesome. It's Henrik, if you're wondering who that is. He's been on the show quite a few times before, and he's an awesome guy. You should all get to know him. He's really cool. Makes some amazing music. I'll actually see if we get time in the pre-show. We'll go through some of you guys' Bandcamp pages and stuff like that. Have a look. Paul Torbett's there. Who else? Of course, Inverted Pope's another one of my patrons. He's there. Big hello to Chob. It's good to have him. I haven't had him on camera for a while. I have to get him back. Get the dust out of that webcam of yours, mate. Good to see Bert there, Ozio Head, and a couple of new faces. I've got a 5-pin DIN. Nice, Nick. Love that one. Big hello to you. So good to see you. Don't know what part of the world you're from. Let us know in chat where you're from. Who else? Wagoo's there. Good to see Daniel. It's good to have Wagoo as always. And who else has jumped in as I've been talking? Always scrolling. Will Joseph jumped in lately. Big hello to Will. But I think that's it. So yeah, having a quick read of the chats. Oh, we've got Oleg just jumped in. Oleg is Grey Wolf. Nice to see you there, mate. Wonder how the weather is in your part of the world, in Moscow. Nice to have you there. If you're wondering who Oleg is, he's the developer of Blew Up VST and also the hardware version, which we've been beta testing. It's been a lot of fun. I actually really enjoyed doing that. Getting close to being commercial. Let me just cough for a sec. There we go. Hopefully you didn't hear that. Yeah. So we've got 5-pin DIN. He's a Scottish person living in Dublin, Ireland. Beautiful. Nothing wrong with that. Good old Dublin, Ireland. It's a good place. I went there once. I've also been to Scotland too. I've actually got Scottish ancestors, so I'll never knock the Scots. Yeah, beautiful. Right. Okay, so what's the plan for today? What is the plan? The plan. Okay. I don't really know what the plan is. What I thought we'd do is maybe we should go for a bit of a tour of the studio, and you guys can sort of run the show as well if you want. I don't know. I actually haven't had really much of a chance to scratch myself this week, to be honest. So, as you guys know, I have the PTZ camera installed, which is a beautiful thing to have when you're doing these shows because you can just move it around. Like, for example, I have memory locations where I can just click this button and it should zoom over to there. It's really cool, isn't it? I love this camera. I can zoom in and zoom out, and it's all just without actually having to change to a different camera. It does make you a little bit dizzy when it does something like this. So I'm just showing you around. Let's start from the back corner there, which you can see. If you actually look at my ugly mug, you can actually see that is actually that back corner in the corner there. But there's a bit of a closer look. I'll turn my camera off so you can see better. There we go. So we obviously got a System 8, that's all plugged in. Some of the things aren't plugged in yet, and it's the reason for it, because I just haven't had a chance to work out what I'm gonna do. I'm trying to work out my space. I'm probably going to go another tier above this because I've definitely got the wall space. If I can do, will that work? If I go up, yeah. So I've got wall space there, I can go up. So I definitely want to go another tier up, and obviously I won't be using those thingamies there. So that's the System 8 in the top left. Underneath it, you've got a, this is the original Moog Sub 37. This is not the subsequent 37, this is the original one. Don't really know how much different they are compared to the subsequent 37. Some people say it's got better VCAs in the newer one, I'm not sure. I've actually listened to it and they kind of sound the same to me. I really like that synth, it's a good synth. It's a good synth because it has a lot of hands-on control, and it can be quite, I don't know, like it can be quite deep for a analog monosynth or duophonic monosynth. Yeah, I do like all the different sort of modulation abilities and stuff it has. There's some nice little tricks to that synth. I've had it for a while too. Okay, what else we got? We've got underneath on the bottom row again, which is the ARP That's just the Korg, 80% Korg ARP Odyssey. Obviously, I'm not rich enough to own an original ARP Odyssey, but that's a pretty good. I've had that since 2015, I think, is when that came out. And this is the most I've ever had this out. Usually it's in the little case that it comes in, and it's in really good condition, that synth, for its age now. It's what is it now? 6 years old. So it's not bad. Up the top, I'll just move myself again, is the Novation. What was that thing called again? Circuit station? Mono station. Oh, something like that. It's basically a base station merged with a circuit. It's actually a pretty cool little thing. And the only reason why it's sitting there is because I'm thinking to myself, I've got a little small space there. What should I put there? Haven't plugged it in yet though. So yeah, anyway, that's that. What else we got? We'll move across a little bit. So just go to the right. So we'll stick to the top row. You've got the Minilog, Korg Minilog. I've always wanted to get an XD, but every time I look at selling the Minilog, like the used market has just, the pants have dropped out on it. So it's kind of like, I just don't feel like I'm getting value for money by swapping them. I do really want one because I love to have that extra sort of digital oscillator that it's got. But at the same time, I'm quite content with how that sounds on its own. I actually think the sound of the Minilog is actually quite special for a mono, or not, sorry, a 4-voice polyphonic, I should say, analog synth. Yeah, pretty good. What else? To the right of that is the Behringer VC 340, which is the Roland VP 330 clone. Had that for a little while. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Never really sort of had a lot of experience with string machines and vocoders of that sort of genre before, so I got it purely because I just wanted to see what it would be like. And it didn't let me down with the string side, but I think the vocoder's a bit naff on it. I think it's very limited for a vocoder. I do like the human voice part of it. It's pretty craftworky sounding. It's pretty cool. Anyway, underneath you'll see the Novation Peak. In front of it is the Roland TR8. That's the first one, the ACB 808 clone. It's got all the voice packs loaded in. So it's got the 909 and 727, 707, all that sort of stuff's loaded in there. So it's pretty good. Next to it's the Behringer RD8. That's the Mark 1. I got that second hand. Behind it is the Roland MX1 mixer. Now, I don't know if the camera will zoom to the right a bit. I've got a couple of things that I'm working on in the corner there. The blue ARP is just there because I forgot to move it. I probably should move it out of the way. Just next to it, you'll see a couple of pedals that I'm going to set up. And I'll talk about that a bit later. But I'm going to be setting up, through the ADAT system, I'm going to be setting out outputs on that. So I can route any of these synths into the outputs of the ADAT and then back in into another input that will be the effects. So we'll muck around with that. We might get time to plug them in and try that out. Okay, what else we got? So there's this corner here, which is basically just around the corner from that, which is I don't really know what I'm doing with this corner yet. At the moment, you guys have seen, I've had this here since I've moved in. I've got the Behringer ARP 2600 there. Underneath is the MIDI routing thing, and there's an ADAT module underneath that. You'll notice in the left, there's a weird looking silver thing, which if you're wondering what it is, let's have a little bit of a closer look. This is actually quite a bit of a rarer sort of device that I own. You can't get these that much around other parts of the world other than Japan, but this is a Yamaha MU1000. I'm trying to get this bloody camera to work. It's a bit of a shocker. Stop moving. All right, there it is. Yamaha MU1000. It's a tone generator, and as you can see, just to the right of the LCD screen, it's got general MIDI and XG MIDI in it, and it's pretty deep, actually. It's quite a nice sound, and there's a whole bunch of features in there that which I like. And it's quite old. It's got a real 80s vibe to it anyway. What else? What else was in that area? Let's just go back out and back in again, sorry. That's right, that's the Akai Force, which we've been playing with over the last couple of weeks. And then to the right of that is my Eurorack stuff, which is all going to change very soon once I get off my ass and finish making my case for it, which is all ready to make except the wood. We'll talk about that another time. Yeah, so there you go. So there's a quick tour. There's more stuff over on my side that is just, if I was to point, just down here to the right of me, but haven't really sort of got that set up yet or plugged in, so there's no point in showing you guys. So yeah, a bit of a quick tour that will sort of get some people asking questions and like. All right, let's have a quick look at what you guys have been saying while I did that, because I took my eyes off the chat for a minute. Can't believe there's 26, 27 of you in here already. That's crazy. Paul Torbett said, marvelous Eurorack gear. Yeah, I've actually got more Eurorack modules than I have space for those actual chassis that you saw at the moment, which is one of the reasons why I'm building the new cases. What's the System 8 bracket for the shelf? Okay, Inverted Popes is asking what am I using on the System 8 to heap that up. So let's go to that. So basically this is a really, really bad idea, by the way. It's not a permanent solution. What this is are DJ laptop stands. So there's two of them. There's one to the left and one to the right. You can see the little black lips of them sticking out where it's holding that white piece of wood. That white piece of wood is just a shelf that you can get from IKEA. I think these IKEA desks are about 1200 millimeters. So that would be a 1200 millimeter shelf, no doubt. And it's actually reasonably sturdy, but I wouldn't go, you know, like bashing the keys on it. It'll bounce up and down a fair bit. So I've actually got, I've got one next to it and the desk next to it. I'm not a massive fan of that, so I wouldn't go recommending people to do that. But just for now, it's a little temporary solution that I've got, and I'll sort of keep running with that for now. Okay. Go to patch bay, yeah. I've got patch bays, Mr. Mac. I just haven't got them set up yet. And I want to, yeah, we'll talk about cable routing. It's going to be a big show. We'll talk about cable routing. And we'll actually do it. So Eddie's asked me if I've got any expansion cards in my MU1000. No, I don't. And it can have expansion cards in there. I actually forget what you can put in there. So we could probably do a show on that. They're actually cool, that whole sort of late 90s genre of Yamaha stuff, because some of the stuff you could buy for your PC, and you could use PCI cards in your PC that had the same chips on them, XG cards, and I think Bert mentioned the SW1000 XG sound card in the chat before. So, yeah. Where's my Roland Boutique JP08? I don't have one. You know I don't have one. Future World Machine's asking me. So yeah, don't have one. We'll be talking about boutiques today. I should probably go and grab the one of my other boutiques. I've got a few boutiques actually. I haven't actually set them up, and I don't know how I'm going to set them up. So yeah, don't go down that route. Not talking properly today. PLG cards, yeah, for the MU1000. They're interesting, those things. You can fit them in the back. You can fit like the cards, like you have to open up the back to pull. It's like a PC case. You pull the back out, you slide the card in, and they expand. But I just can't remember for the life of me what was available for it. I have a feeling one of them was an FM card. I mean, that would be pretty obvious, wouldn't it? So yeah. Yep. Cool, right. So, what time is it now? It's 9 o'clock here, 9:04. Awesome. So what was I doing today? Okay, so let's go to my ugly mug. So what I was doing today is I was thinking about like what, I've got the Polyand tracker here, which I'm a massive fan, as you guys know, of. And what I've been thinking of doing is I'm thinking of making a sample or kit, they call it, for. So basically, if you go into the menus of this, it's got like kits that you can load, and then you can actually apply those kits to make your tracks. And those kits are basically just like sound samples. And those samples can be long or short, so it depends on what type of kit you want to make. You can have sort of, you know, a bit of a mix. You can have some percussion sounds, and you can have some, you know, synthy sort of sounds or guitar-y sounds in it. So I'm thinking about making like a kit for this, which I'm gonna make, and I'm gonna make it so that everybody will be able to download that who's got a Polyand tracker for free. But what I'm gonna make it in is the question. So what do I make it in? Do I make it in picking a synth and just stick to that synth, like maybe like a Moog Slim Fatty, which I've got in the other room stored? Should I use a Moog Slim Fatty and just make all synth sounds out of that, percussion sounds, and just keep to that? Or should I just do, you know, Ranzee's favorite sounds? Or, yeah, what do you guys think? I think it'll be fun. And maybe it's something that we can do together on the show. So we can, you know, muck around with sounds and play it on the show. I don't know if you guys can hear that. Yeah. So there's an Odyssey. So we could do an Odyssey one if you want. Yeah. So there's that. What else we got? Questions. Big hello to Human Error who's joined us. And Inky's just joined. Lisa's early. Big hello. And also we got Dazza. I haven't seen Dazza for ages. That's the Intergalactic Federation, if you guys are wondering who Dazza is. He must be so late. It must be like midnight there. Midnight in the eastern part of Australia, where everyone turns into a pumpkin. Eddie said, I've got a DX. You have a DX card, a VL card, a Harmony card, a Vocaloid card, and another one I can't remember. Wow, I did not know that. So the DX would be obviously the FM card. VL, what's the VL? Oh, it's like a... Okay, yeah. I know what the VL's now. Yeah. They were actually... Oh, I'd love to get my hands on a VL card. Yeah, that would be the one I would get. Because, I mean, I've got a DX7 already. I don't need another DX. That would actually be cool. I should actually check eBay out, see if they've got that. Plug it in. Beautiful. Yes. 12:07 a.m. pumpkin soup, bro. Yes. Like I said, this whole TARDIS daylight savings business is just absolutely nuts. I don't understand it. It's crazy. We don't have it here. We don't have daylight savings. It's not like I haven't lived somewhere which has had daylight savings. It's just we don't have it here. And you kind of forget how much of a pain in the rear end it is. Sergio's joined us. Big hello. If you're wondering where Sergio is, he's from South America, from the land in the south. Question, are the voltages on the Behringer 2600 compatible with Eurorack? So, yes-ish. Yes-ish. So definitely the CV stuff is. So I've used LFOs and things to go into it, and I've actually put things into it, and I actually haven't noticed any sort of issues, but I do believe there might be some differences with some of the parts in it. So yeah, you'd have to probably check. Someone in the chat might know actually. I do have, we could probably, it might save on there. If we go to this. So it actually, I don't even know if it says it on there, does it? Sometimes they write these things on the actual thing. Where, it's not very bright at the moment, is it? So where I've patched into a lot of the, see across the bottom of all the oscillators, I've patched into there. from out of Eurorack into that, and I've not had a problem. And I've also patched into things like clocks and stuff like that. Yeah, I would say, don't like sue me if I'm wrong, but I would say you're probably safe. Yeah. Virtual linear £200 plus shipment from Japan. Yeah, that's the thing with those PLG cards. They fetch still a pretty hefty price. When I bought that MU1000 unit, I only paid, it was about £50 for it. So I was actually quite happy getting it for that. I did buy it from Japan too. I shipped it from Japan. The shipping was more expensive than the actual unit. Yep. Yeah, look, the VL, isn't the VL stuff, what's that word? Isn't it to do with physical modeling? That's what it's kind of to do with. It's to do with physical modeling. Or am I thinking of something else? I need to look that up. The VL, PLG VL card. You can buy one from Yamaha Music in Canada. So the virtual acoustic. So I said physical modeling, but so let me read this to you. It's virtual acoustic plug-in board lets you create hang on, I've got to get the wording right. Incredibly expressive natural sounding voices by digital simulations of the physical characteristics of acoustic instruments. So it is physical modeling. Thanks to its fabulous synthesis architecture, extensive real-time performance control. Yeah, I really want to get myself one of these cards. I think it'd be awesome. Be good fun. I think there'll be some fun mixing that with other sounds. I do think. I reckon it'll be cool. Anyway, do we have? I was going to show you dog cam. Let me see if the dog's here. Yeah, she's there. She's sleeping. All right, here we go. Dog cam. Say hello to Bonnie, everyone. She's peeking. She's heard her name. She's lying on the couch. All good studios should have dogs in them. There you go. Yeah, she went to the vet this week, Bonnie. She had she snuffed through her nose a grass seed, and it's one of those. It's called a foxtail grass seed. It's one of those seeds that you can't pull back out. It's like a squid hook, in its design. And she got quite sneezy and upset with it. So we actually we had to put her under anaesthetic, and it was nasty. But the vet got it, so all good. She's still sneezing a little bit. It's only been a couple of days, so yeah. We'll get. I think we need to look into that VL stuff a bit more. I really do want to get into that. I've always wanted to do it, and when that MU1000 unit ever gets brought out, it always reminds me that I should do something with it. What I like about it is it's actually pretty compact, so you can actually just tuck it in somewhere, and you don't need to ever touch the screen on that. You can control everything via MIDI. So it's really not a thing that you need to be mucking around with physically. So yeah, it does have multiple outputs on it. What is Wagoo saying here? Something about throwing darts. The ones you can use as darts to throw and stick people's clothes, the Australian version. I don't know if, no, I think I know what you're talking about. No, these things are pretty tiny, like that sort of size. But they're really, really, really common. Like if you see tall grass growing wild in fields, and you see that sort of beige coloured or bone coloured weed, that's the sort of thing that we're talking about. Marshall Arnold's here. Big hello to Marshall. Haven't seen you for a while. Well, it wasn't that long ago, I don't think, but it's always nice to have you. Yeah. And I believe that it would be extremely early for you, if I'm not mistaken. It would probably be, what, 8 o'clock in the morning or something crazy like that? I'm not alone today, Daniela. I am going to have, well, hopefully we'll have Daren back, and Andy Brooks. See, it's all ready for the guys to come in. I'll have Daren, Andy Brooks, and also Andy, who's synth addict. They will all be coming in probably around about half an hour's time. So this is the pre-show where I'm kind of just getting my normal start time. I'm still doing stuff. So yeah. Yeah. So what was I doing? Okay, so let's get over to the Mac and let's just have a look at this. So this is the Mac. Let me just get this up for you guys. Right, so in the Mac, we have got the Odyssey happening there. If I just mute the Odyssey for a sec, you can actually hear the MU. Oh, it's very quiet though, isn't it? Maybe I'll mute myself so you can't hear me tapping. Okay, so this thing has got like a million voices in it, and you just have to change the MIDI channel. And as I change the MIDI channel, different things will sound. Some really cheesy sounds in this thing. Oh, that's the drum machine. Very cheesy drum machines. I should probably go and turn it up a bit. Which one's volume? There we go. So different sounds out of the MU. Okay, now that's triggering the MIDI log, so I need to turn that off. Problem with these sound modules is they just don't have the beauty of the real sound. Let's have a listen to the MIDI log. Turn the MU off. So it's good. It's like mission control with me here. I've got MIDI controller here, and that's connected up to the MRCC, which is right over in the corner. And the MRCC is routing all that stuff that you're seeing, or you're hearing, I should say. So yeah. So yeah, it can do different synths. We can do, let's go down to, I think is it channel 1 might be the, yeah, there's the VC340. bit quiet though, isn't it? Analog string goodness. So obviously the good benefit of having all that stuff routing there is I can bring that now into the DAW and, you know, put effects on through the DAW, have digital effects going on there. Big thank you to Future World Machines. Let's get that super chat up before it disappears. Let it go. Beautiful. And then this button here. There we go. Thanks for the €5. Buy a coffee for everyone who's having a late night or an early morning. Beautiful. Thank you very much. As we say in Australia, we'll leave that on the fridge. Fantastic. Go back to the chatties, see what they're saying. So yeah, I'm just mucking around with the MU1000 just to see what it's doing today. I'm using XG mode on the MU1000 Eddy. XG mode. So, yep. Can you explain the differences? This is Henrik's asking this, JX3D in the chat. Can you explain the differences for using the mixer in DAW mode versus standalone mode? Trying to understand it before getting the RME. Yeah, look, it can be a bit of a head scratch, and it still catches me out. But I can try anyway. We can always try. Let's try. Okay, so this is called Total Mix. This is the RME Total Mix interface. I love this thing. It's actually really good. A lot of mixers have these, like the Presonus has its thing called Ultra, what's it called again? Universal, that's right, Universal Control. And they all have these kind of virtual mix interface things that you can get. Some are better than others. What I like about the RME one is that if you disable all these faders here, so if you double click on them, it'll drop them all down to 0. Double click, it'll bring it up to Unity. If you disable all of those, you won't hear anything in mixer mode, right? So if I disable all these, I won't hear anything, okay? But if let's bring the VC340 back up. If I enable it, I'll hear it through the mixer mode, which is basically you using this. But if they're all down, all the inputs are down, and then let me just go back to myself for a sec, and then you open up a DAW or some sort of virtual system where you can use the actual audio interface itself. So I'm just bringing Ableton up while I was doing that. I can now go in here and let me just enable the Odyssey. No, it's the VC340. Which one was that again? Sorry, one sec. VC340 is number 7. Haven't got everything labeled yet. Okay, so 1 second. All right, so we do that. I can hear Andy's just arrived. Now, if I disable the audio in there, but I enable it in here, and when I enable it in here, you should see it. But if I've got them both turned on, you'll hear it twice, and you'll hear a delay or a slight delay. And the benefit is that you can use this as a routing control. So like, for example, Ableton has the ability to route digital audio from and to something. So I can route it to an external output, and then I can choose any of those external outputs. We were talking before, I don't know if you remember, I was mentioning before when we had the camera over here, and just in this corner, I've got those effects pedals there. So those effects pedals are going to be set up as an ADAT out going to the input of the effects pedal, and then the output of the effects pedal going into an input of the ADAT. So that will give me the ability in here to choose a routing option here. I can route to any of these channels, and that means I can route the sound from there to there. But I don't have to do that in Ableton. I can do that in, sorry, I should get my ugly mug back up again. I can do that also in Total Mix, and that's the cool thing about Total Mix. You aren't necessarily like limited to what you can do in the DAW. And the other thing that's really cool about it, the Total Mix system also, is the fact that it has loopback on all of the outputs. So you can actually set loopback on all of the outputs here, and you can see I've got loopback on output 1 and 2, and that loopback then becomes something that you can use, like for example, if you want to record the computer audio, like if I'm playing a video or something on that computer, I want to record that. So there's some really, really cool things that you can do with it. It's not the only interface that's got it. But anyway, let's say hello to Andy, who's new, who's not new, he's, what am I saying? Oh, he's, get the right button, here we go. He's joined us. Beautiful. Notice how we're nice and early, Andy. I will let you know that we are streaming. Yeah. So, and I did say...
I saw the Facebook post.
Yeah, we are streaming early. So big hello. How's your week been, mate? You been good?
Week, yes. We've had sort of an inspection in school from the Monday right through to Thursday. You know, they could pop in at any time and everything. So everyone was on pins, and it just had loads of stress. And they didn't come into me once, not once. I don't know if that was a compliment. I don't know if to be glad about it or upset, but never mind. I never got stung, so that was it. Just one whole week of stress. But anyway, look.
Oh, I know what that is. Well, you can tell them what that is.
Yeah. Are we allowed to tell what and why and how?
Absolutely.
As in
yeah.
How it's all right.
We're all friends here.
I will do then. We are all friends here. So, okay. Last week after the show, Ranzee asked me to get in touch with us. I got in touch. Said he said, "I want to buy you a module. I want to buy you a module for your Euro rack." I said, "Oh, that's very kind." And what he's done is, in a means of sort of distributing some of the money that's come through on the super chats and super stickers and things, he's used that to buy me a little module. Nothing excessive, just a nice little module. And Royal Mail being what it was, of course, I wasn't in when they delivered it, and trying to get hold of it was a pain in the bum. So I walked down to the sorting office this morning with the tracking code, and they'd got it. As you can see, it's still in the... So, shall I open it now, or should we open it later?
Yeah, go for it. Open it. Yeah. I love this sort of stuff.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, it's hardly an unboxing because it's just in a big envelope. But, okay, here we go. Scissors at the ready. Ooh. Drum roll, please.
Oh, hang on, I got drums.
Go on. Oh, do the drums then.
All right, so we're going to do like a, I don't know if it's working. Hang on, wait. Here we go. That was really bad. You can hear me tapping the keyboard louder than the drums itself.
And he cuts a cable. Yeah. No, it's all nicely boxed up. There you go. It's the Behringer System 100 172. Is it 172? Is that the number?
172, yes.
Yeah, 172. So it's the phaser module. There are two modules in the System 100 across there, which I hadn't yet got. I hadn't yet got this one, and I'd not got the sequencer. So I thought, yeah, we'll go with this one. So thank you very much, Rans, and thank you very much, people who've contributed with super chats, because that's amazing. Thank you very much. I'm really touched by that, really moved. So it's not in the rack yet. In fact, if you look at the rack, you'll see there's no room in it. In fact, I've got two modules that won't go in.
You'll have to cut it in half.
So you know what it means, don't you? You know what that means. It means I'm going to have to buy a second rack. Oh, God. Right, so second rack's on the way, or will be. I'll order that later on today because, sooner rather than later, might as well get it. So there we are. So thanks, everyone. Ta-da.
Beautiful. I love the power of the world. You know, how you can just order something online and you know, as long as you've got the details of the person that you're sending it to, it works. It works. Like I didn't even have to get up. I actually did it here in this room. I actually sent him that module from this room without getting off my butt. Pretty cool, isn't it?
It's great. I had to get off my butt, though. I had to go down to the sorting office. Fortunately, it's just down the road from where I live, so it wasn't too bad. Nice little walk. So, yeah, I mean, you say it's great, but I mean, we've just had all that lovely climate conference thing, and you sit there twiddling your thumbs thinking, how long is it going to last? When are people going to wake up? When are they going to say, right, we're not allowed to fly anywhere anymore? Because that's going to be the, I think that's going to happen, and the airline industry will all be very upset. But unless they can come up with clean air travel, which you know, I'm not scientist enough for all that.
They'll have to, you know, go back to Area 51 and find out how those aliens teleported each other, and steal that code or something.
They ought to release it. I mean, come on. We know how to make solar panels, so every building should be covered in solar panels. Every building should be covered on them, and the price will come down when you cover every building in solar panels. Yeah, batteries in cars, battery powered cars will be cheaper when every car's battery powered. So let's just get on and do it. Let's get on and do it now, and just go with it. I mean, I can't see any different. But then that's because I'm basically simple. So.
You're not simple. We're getting solar panels here. And the good thing about where I live is that about 80-90% of the year, they're going to deliver nice, hot Australian sun to my roof, and it'll be free electricity.
Exactly. In those places where sun shines all the blooming time, you should have them on every single blooming building, generating the electricity. Of course, the power companies don't want you to do that, but that's what
they'll lose money.
Yeah, I mean, even here in the UK, I mean, even on a day like today, the sun's shining. It's not particularly warm outside, but the sun is shining. The block that I live in could have solar panels. It's quite a big roof. You know, it's two flats on either side of the building. You know, there's 8 flats in the building, so 4 on each side. So it's a big roof space. And on the street side, you could have solar panels on there, and it will get sun for most of the day, or at least sunlight. But I don't, you know, none of us who own the flats own the roof. That's all. We've been banging on about it. Why can't we have them? Why can't we have them? Why can't we have them distributed through the flat? No, we can't do it, mate. It's too expensive. Just makes me cross. Anyway, I've had a rant. No. Let's get off our butts and actually start doing the things we need to do, because it seems the politicians will just drag their feet. So we as a people have to do it ourselves.
And I mean, I'll feel a little bit better about all the power that I use in here. Like, it's all synths, they're all electronic, right? So if I've got solar on my roof, I'll feel, you know, like I'm contributing in some bizarre, stupid way. But it's, you know, it's a step in the right direction. Okay.
I believe so.
I want to jump onto chat, because there was a few other comments that I was talking about just before we said hello to you. So we were talking about the DAW mode and the differences with that, and the mixer mode and all that sort of stuff. And then Marshall asked, "Is that a general MIDI module?" So we were talking about the MU 1000, which is that little grey box there. So Yamaha, if you want to pronounce it correctly. Like a sound module, and it's got general MIDI, and it's also got XG, and you can also put PLG cards. So we were talking about that before, so just to quickly sort of bring that back. And we've had quite a few other people jump into chat. We'll say hello to all the new ones coming in, probably thinking to themselves, why is he streaming so early? So if you're wondering why I'm streaming so early, I'll just explain it to you guys while you're here. And we can also can we bring Andy up? How can we bring Andy up somehow? Can I do that at the same time? Oh, I can just put Andy there on me there. No, we'll just do this. We'll bring us both up. There you go. That's a bit of a trick. So yeah, basically because of daylight savings, you guys are all going back or forward or whatever you're going back in time. My place where I live, we didn't change our time. So it meant that I had to stream the show an hour later. It meant I was going to bed late. And it actually really stuffs me for the next day. So I was actually quite happy to do it the time I was actually doing it for the last 8 months. So I want to continue to do it. So we're going to do the pre-show as a longer show, and then in about 25 minutes we'll hit off with the normal main show, And then at the end of that, we'll finish. We might stay a little bit later, but we'll finish. So that's what that's all about. Yeah. What else? Any other? Oh, so heaps of people jumped in. Is that? So Henry's asking if there's a big encoder knob on top of the Yamaha. It's not. It's the lens cover for the PDZ camera. It does look like one, doesn't it? It's actually pretty funny. Beautiful. Okay, so it's good to see you guys in. I noticed that there was quite a lot of you guys who started watching early anyway, so I don't think it really... Andy, I don't really think it really made a difference to their lives. I think they were just sort of plodding their Saturdays at some stage, and, they'll come and go as they please. So, yeah.
Yeah, of course. Well, quite. Here we are.
Yeah, I mean, like right now, we're all at a different stage of Saturday. So some of you are eating your Wheaties, and some of you have just had lunch, and some of you have just had dinner, and some of you are probably lying in bed, all ready to pass out, snoring. We had Dazza in before. Dazza was just telling us it was after midnight. So there's certain parts of the world would be quite late. Yeah. Yep.
He's been doing loads of stuff, hasn't he, recently? All these streams that he's been doing, just getting out, just getting up and doing it. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well done to him.
Yeah,
I don't always
absolutely.
get a chance to catch them, but I do like to catch up on them.
God, there's so much content coming out from a lot of really, really good YouTubers right now. And I kind of feel bad because I haven't really done... The last video that I did was the Behringer Brains video. I mean, if you don't include the silly sort of music ones that I do, but the last video I did was Behringer Brains, and yeah, I don't really get a chance to do them anymore. I was really enjoying doing the mailbag segments, but I just ran out of time to do it, so I need to find that time again, that magic time. But anyway, that's fine. Just noticed that Robbie's joined us, Failed Muso. He's saying earlier starts is better for him. Good. I wonder if Robbie's someone that likes this. I mean, I know he's a big Yamaha fan, so I just wonder if he's a big fan of the MU1000, because I don't think he saw that before. Are you a fan of the MU1000, Robbie? Because I know you like the Yamaha stuff. There it is there. And all of the sort of derivatives of it, the MU50 and the MU2. I think the MU2000 was the better one. But you can put the PLG cards in. We were talking about that before. We are giving that a bit of an ear bash today. The old, it's not even a magical, amazing synth really. It's just a big sound module. But anyway,
I'd never used one of those. We did have an SC55 and an SC88 in Chillage People. They were Rupert's actually. Rupert owned them, and they were great just for the sort of standard, just bread and butter. If you need a nice strings in the background, doesn't have to be anything amazing, just something to pad it out. It was great. I mean, the pianos were in the SC88. The pianos were great. So I mean, Rupert used to use it for that all the time. So
yeah. Kent was just saying in chat that you can get classical FM on that. Yeah, you can. You can get a DX card, a PLG DX. And we were just talking about all the different PLG cards, which Eddie told us, who's F Rose in chat. And the one I want to get is the VL, which is the physical modelling one. I reckon that's going to be cool. Just as I said it, Robbie just said it. It's a really, really cool card. For 200, I mean, 200 is not that much, is it really, when you think about it? What it can do. It's an old tech, but really it's not that much. Because really that technology hasn't gone massively, hugely different in the past since then. They've pretty much did most of the groundwork back in those days. Obviously they've improved the sample qualities and things like that, but the actual way it works is the nuts and bolts are still pretty much there. I remember the original the VL synths that they brought out, the earliest ones. They were groundbreaking synths. Like people were like jaws were dropping when they could hear, acoustic instruments being played on a synthesizer, and they just couldn't tell the difference. It was crazy stuff. So yeah. So yeah, Robbie's saying it's mono, the card, but yeah, I don't think you can really tell because you can actually pan it. You can add effects to it like delays and stuff. So it goes through the sort of general sound engine on it. So I don't think it really matters if it's mono. But yeah, it might be better if it was a stereo thing. But yeah, splitting hairs here. But like I said, it's just one of those things that I don't have. I don't have any physical modeling stuff at all. Okay, so we are waiting on just a couple of other people to join us, which would normally be around about in the next 5 minutes, because this would be when technically I would start streaming. So there you go. It didn't take long to get here, did it? It just goes that quick. Boom, you're here. Right, while we're waiting for those people to turn up, we should do some housekeeping. We just had, just want to bring this up. Big hello to Neil, who's just jumped in and said, "Hi everyone, I usually just watch and don't chat. So nice to interact for a change." Well, it's absolutely nice for you to do that, Neil, and thanks for joining us. There's probably a lot of people that do that, to be honest. And, you know, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Some people are shy, or some people are busy. They might be at work and they can't. You know, the bosses are walking past and they can't see them clickety-clacketing on the keyboard. There could be a whole bunch of reasons why people can't jump into chat, but it's nice to have you anyway, and everyone else, of course.
Yeah. So yeah, hi Neil.
Yeah, it's good. And Andy, your little module, I should just quickly...
Yeah.
We should just do this. So your little module, right, is... Where's my version of it? Is my version up? No, that's the 110. I think the other one is there, isn't it? Yeah, there it is, the 172. Okay,
left to it. Stop. No.
Zoom.
Warmer.
There it is there. There you go. So,
you show me yours, and I'll look at yours.
Usually it's a female that says that to me, Andy, so it was, yeah. Anyway.
Sorry to disappoint. All right.
Okay, so I want to tell you a couple of things. So we've just had Daren rock up with his crisps. So we'll say hello to Daren in a sec. I just wanted to mention one thing to you. Okay, so I think I mentioned it in my video that I did on this. The phase shifter is actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
The shift frequency is the complete opposite to the Roland System 500 module equivalent of this, which is weird. So one of them, you spin it to the left and it does something like increase frequency, and the other one you spin it to the right and it does the same thing. It's kind of weird. The audio delay, I think it's weird how they call it an audio delay. And someone should, maybe Kent might know this. Back in the System 100 days, why would they call that an audio delay when really, in effect, it's actually more like a flanger/chorus effect, because it's a bucket brigade delay in there. So you don't really get the features of, the bucket brigade delay if it was in sort of delay mode. It doesn't really give you that feature where it does that. It only sort of gives you the chorusy, sort of modulation side of it. So just bear that in mind, Andy. When you're using that, you probably think to yourself, hang on, that's not
I'm not expecting it to be a big delay module thing, if you know what I mean. I'm expecting, like you said, it's a sort of just a short delay, isn't it? Like
a really short one.
Slap back that you can then turn into flanging and chorus and stuff.
Yeah, you got it. Well, it does do a little bit of a little springy sort of delay. It's good.
Got it out of the box now. There it is.
Yay. It's real. It exists.
The cable in the back only goes in one way. Now I've got to work out. Oh no, it won't fit in that gap. Look.
You have to cut it.
Oh No.
Let's say hello to Daren.
In the short term, I can take the multi module out because they don't actually really need that too much. So that one can come out and it can go in there. And then when I re-rack everything else, so
I took my multi out. I wasn't using it as much. Yeah.
Yeah, you find that with the System 100 where it mults itself anyway, doesn't it? I mean, that's the clever thing about it. When you start using it, you realise, well, actually, it's just multing itself. And some bits, like when you've got an envelope, like to the 100 module, the 110, where you might want to send an envelope to the filter and the amplifier, it's normalised. You need to send one. You don't need to multi it. You don't need to take two out. I was like, oh wow, I didn't realise that. Look at that.
Yeah.
So it's really clever like that. I mean, that's one of the things I love about it. The more you use it, the more you find these little not quirks, but features that are built in that you wouldn't go, oh, I didn't realise that. So that big mults module is it's a bit redundant, really. I bought a buffered mult for pitches, so I mean, I might get another small mults module, but anyway, there we are.
Just get like a 2 HP mults module or something.
That's right.
Less room. Yeah.
Another depth.
So Kent's,
hi, Daren.
Can we just get to Kent's answer first before we forget? Kent did answer this. So Kent said, Steady, this is actually a really serious question from me for a change, but can you recommend a really good MIDI to CV Eurorack module, please? Okay. Well.
Far away ones.
Yeah. I've got one here. In fact, I can show you it. I don't know if I'd say it's really good, because I don't know what really good kind of means. But it works. It does its job. And there's definitely cheaper versions of it. But there's the one I've got. It's called the Expert Sleepers FH2. It has MIDI host as well as MIDI device connections. So you can see that's got the USB-C and the standard Type A USB on it, and it's got in and out. It's got MIDI out from those out 1 to 8 ports, and the XY is modulation, and then it's got a whole bunch of other things that it can do because it's all controlled by a microcontroller, and the connectors on that are DC coupled, and I need to probably get up my notes to see what else it can do. So it's pretty feature packed. However, if you just wanted to simplify MIDI to CV, you probably can't go wrong with the Dope for one. A lot of people swear by that, saying that's pretty good. So yeah, the Dope for one would probably be another one that you could get. But yeah, a lot of people like the Expert Sleepers. They would say that's a pretty good one. Daren, you've got MIDI to CV in your case, don't you?
Can you hear me, by the way?
We can, yeah. How are you? Anyway, good?
It's been hectic. I'll tell you all in a bit. What do I use? Mine's a bit expensive, really, to use because I use the Hermod if I'm
yes.
MIDI to CV.
Yeah.
So it's not really. I wouldn't advise you to get that unless you wanted a sequence and everything. But that's a cracking thing, though, because I mean, you've got 5-pin MIDI in and out as well, so as well as the USB. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend that just as a MIDI to CV. But it works great for me. That's ended up what I've used it for. So basically, it is an expensive MIDI to CV. I don't really use the sequencer on it much, even though it's great.
Yeah.
There's another option. I've just put it in the chat. The BeatStep Pro works perfectly well as a MIDI to CV converter. Actually, it really handles it great.
Yeah, it does actually. It's not too bad. If it didn't have the stupid ground loop noise issues that it has, I would use it a lot more. I just don't want to introduce any electrical impedance into my Eurorack setup, so that's the big issue for me.
Mine was fine once using it with an external power supply, USB power supply, rather than linking it to the computer and all the other bits and bobs, and it was just on its own. So I never got any of that. I did when I was hooking it up to the computer. That was a bit of a nuisance.
Yeah. Look, Behringer have released, I don't know if they've actually started shipping it yet, but they have also released a MIDI to CV module, which I believe is a copy of is it the Make Noise? No, it wouldn't be Make Noise. Who was it? IntelliGel. I think it's IntelliGel. Anyway, it's one of those they've copied. They've
copied stolen another IntelliGel design.
I don't know. They've copied someone. Let's not say who they've copied because I actually don't know. But yeah, someone, I remember reading it was a copy of something. That could be one that you could use when they come out and start shipping. But like Andy said, you can use other things to convert MIDI to CV. It doesn't actually have to be a module itself. You could use like heaps of synths these days come with CV out. Like even I shouldn't say too much about Behringer because giving him a lot of plugs, but this is actually a really good MIDI to CV. This one.
True. Work well.
Does it really well. And actually use this all the time as a MIDI to CV. So it doesn't have to be a module. If you're wondering what I actually use, this is kind of like a little sort of segue, but if you're wondering what I use, I kind of go down a different path. I don't really use MIDI to CV. I kind of do it the other way around. I use CV to MIDI. Oops, here we go. And I use this thing called PAMS. Oh,
that's a plant.
That's a plant, and just to the left of it. Sorry, I really haven't got that set up.
That's what controls MIDI to CV is plant.
So there's Pamela's new workout. If you're wondering, we'll call it PAMS for short. That's what I use, and you can see that's the actual PAMS module there. But just to the right of it, there's a little sort of extender, PX2 it's called, and you can see that it's actually got a MIDI out. Oh, if you can't see, I have to move it down a bit. Behind that cable there, where my finger is, I'm not going to get it. There's a little 3.5 millimeter MIDI out jack anyway. You have to trust me, it's there. Camera's not picking it up. The reason why I do that is because PAMS will be my master clock for everything, and then that way it can keep sync of all my Eurorack sequences. At the same time, I can sync my Force or my MPC to it. And yeah, but having said that, there's a module that's come out, and we showed it on the show in the news section, that has Ableton Link in it. And that I have to find out what does that, because it had Ableton Link, it had MIDI to CV, USB DIN, and Bluetooth, I think, or Wi-Fi. It was one of the two. It might have been Wi-Fi. That seems like a pretty cool idea as well, because then you could, if you're using Ableton, you can set up things like your Akai Forces or your MPCs to Ableton Link, and then everything will be all synced with your DAW, which seems to be quite a stable clock system. So there's that as well. Yeah.
You always ask me about my modular, and yet you two are probably more modular than me now. I mean, I've not used my modular for ages.
You know why though?
It's more of a sound creating thing.
You know why? Because you've moved it. You've moved it.
That, probably, yeah.
Because it used to be behind you.
Oh, yeah. It did. And now it's at the side of me.
Yeah.
It's behind you.
Watch out.
But
we've had the Halloween show.
I don't have time for the modular, to be honest, at the moment. It's too
just getting ready for Panto season.
It's too, it gets me too hooked up and takes me off whatever I want to do. So I've not really used it at all.
It's too noodly, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's more of a, if you're not getting anything on your mind, just to play about with and just lose yourself in it. And I don't have that time, or I've got the time, I suppose, but I want to get on with other things that I have ideas for and I need to do them. And sitting around with the modular, fiddling about with it for hours on end, it's just, no. So I'm a non-modular person at the moment.
See, I think
Andy be wanting me modules off me.
I think the big thing with me, Daren, is because I've got the Force, and I'm not saying you should get a Force, I'm just saying because I've got the Force set up and my Eurorack goes into the Force.
He tried this trick with you, Andy, in the MPC one.
I'm not trying any tricks because let me tell you, nobody's giving me kickbacks for any of this stuff. So if it was a trick, you'd know. I'd be driving around in the Lamborghini and putting the Moog 1 in the back. No, So
you will get a force.
Then they definitely both catch fire.
Daren, you need to start building into your neighbour's house. No, you need a bigger studio. No, the point I'm trying to make is that the reason why I'm kind of doing a lot of Eurorack stuff is because I'm able to quickly get a recording of it as a clip, and then I'm able to, because it's all synced, with the clock and everything, I'm able to sort of move with that pretty quickly, and that's actually quite a good workflow thing, which you can do in Ableton, by the way. So for you could, because it's all kind of integrated in your setup there, you could probably get your Eurorack stuff into Ableton pretty easily. So it's probably just something, I don't know, maybe it's a physical thing, because clicking on mice and
I need
watching screens versus.
I need a new Mac. You see, I'm still running on. Believe it or not, I'm still running on OS. Syria, not higher, but the first one.
Oh, Sierra, yeah.
Yeah, Sierra. That's it. That's how far behind I'm out. Exactly. So everything's starting to come to a slow halt. So I'm waiting for the Mac Mini Pro to come out in February, hopefully.
I should show you guys this, because I'm actually a beta tester for Ableton, and this is actually this is Ableton beta. So let's go to About. So you can see there it's Live 11 beta. It's version I don't know if it's version 11.1 B6. So and as a result, of it being an Ableton beta thing, there's issues with it. We have to report bugs and stuff like that. But the big thing with that, Daren, is that it runs on the new ARM, or the Apple Silicon, they're calling it, processor.
Exactly. If you've noticed, I've not bought anything for the studio for this year.
Yeah,
much. I'm completely moneyless. So that's why the studio's not grown, and probably won't do for a while. But there's a lot of big plans coming. I'll talk about later.
Well, there might be something,
music-wise, that is.
Daren. There might be something that will go into your studio very soon. So, but we'll talk about that offline a bit later. Andy can hint to it later too. All right. So, what are we up to? 3 minutes before the hour. I think Andy just below us has arrived. Let's just double check to see. Oh. He's got the camera.
He's in the fog.
Yeah. He's got digital noise. Is he on number 2?
Foggy San Francisco.
He's probably just getting himself set up, so we won't annoy him too much. Now
he's bought one of those massive vape units.
Oh, that's me.
Didn't realize how bad it was going to be.
He's down at the local kebab shop, smoking it.
Holy shit.
Anyway,
all the Andes.
You guys are crazy.
Too many bloody Andes.
You guys are crazy. Andy actually is going to be trying out his new wireless microphone today, which is the same one that Stephen or Mac in chat has got. So we'll be checking that out. Yep. Absolutely checking that out. And we're about 2 minutes away from the main show. Who's excited? The main show is about to start. There's Andy. Look, there he is there.
There's Andy. Look, the fog's cleared.
Look, he's looking stressed out.
Fog's lifted.
Is it working? Is his mic working?
Long story. That's why I'm late. Sorry, long story.
Oh, let's blow our ears out.
Sorry about that. Is that better?
A little bit, but we've got some weird digital sort of sound coming out the back of that.
The reverb was on. I turned it off by accident.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I waste a bunch of time with those things. They're actually really nice. Here's the case it comes in. It's really cool. Very much like the one you have, but
mine didn't have
there's something
a case.
weird with the levels. Yeah, this is levels, cables, everything you need in one little package. But I had trouble with the levels, so rather than futz with the levels and have audio problems, I went back to the old standard. So
I have trouble with my levels on these as well, and I've sent in a support request to Rode about it. Look, it's not a massive issue, but they came back to me and said, we need you to make a video and show us what you mean. And I'm like, what? Are you freaking kidding me? How much time do you think I have?
Anyway, they need beta testers.
That's a good point. That is a good point. Yes.
Hey, look.
Way.
Hey, look, we're both IT guys. You know, Microsoft uses the world as beta testers now. So
Yeah, I know. They have been since 1985 or whatever it is, when they gave us IBM DOS. Anyway, we should start the main show. Ready, set. Yes, as Henrik said in the chat, I should make a video on how much time I have not. Anyway, big hello to you. Welcome to Saturday. It's brilliant to have you here. If you've been wondering, we've been streaming for about an hour already, but this is actually now really the true main show. This is actually where it all happens. So thanks for joining us. There's a good bunch of you already in chat. We'll say hello to all the chatties in a sec. We've got 3 video guests on today. We're going to say hello to them in a sec as well. But before we do, I just want to give you a quick overview of what we're going to be doing today. We have got a lot of news to get through today. So grab yourself some snacks and some drinks and sort of put it to your side, because you'll probably need it to get through the news segment today. It's pretty heavy and some really cool stuff to talk about. We've got some funny side, we've got some cool stuff in there, we've got some scams to show you, there's some really cool stuff in there. Eddie's given us a new video for Name That Synth segment, so that's going to be exciting. So it's there's a lot of cool things to get through today. Don't forget that we should always talk about the stuff that sort of happens outside of the week, and starting with this one, we've got Discord. So if you're new and you haven't ever sort of tried Discord out, that link there, it'll probably send you malware and hack into your computer, but don't worry, it will take you eventually to Discord. No, I'm just joking. It's all completely fine. It just takes you to the Discord server address, and we continue our conversations about synth geekery during the week, which if you don't believe me, you can just ask people in the chat. We talk all day long about this stuff. It's great. That's probably where my time goes, by the way. Anyway, what else? We've got a couple of Patreon people in here, which is really, really good to have. Patreon, I'm not massively active in Patreon as like a creator in there, but I actually use it more as a tool for you guys to support the show, because we do have expenses. There's lots of software and subscriptions and stuff that we need to keep the show going. So Patreon's a good way for you guys to contribute, and it's only just like a cup of coffee type sort of money, like a US dollar or something like that. It's pretty small, so you can do that. You can do as little as you want, or you can step it up. So try that out if you feel like you need to support. You can also do super chats as well. That's a good way to support us. What I do with the super chats is as they slowly build up, I share the love with the people that also come on the show as well. Well, started to anyway. So that's something that I've only just been able to do because the money hasn't been enough yet, but now it has. We can share it. And yeah, that sort of cool thing. Now, don't forget that if you have never ever done this before, there's people in the show, namely these people here, that love it when you give us a thumbs up. And the reason for that is it shows them that they're doing a good job, and it's like a pat in the back. It's like a virtual pat in the back. So hit the thumbs up for that. It helps with all sorts of things other than their ego and like YouTube algorithms and stuff like that as well. But don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done that, because that way you're going to get the notifications. And yeah, that's a good way to start. All right, before we go into saying hello, we'll just have to address a couple of super chats that have come in, which is awesome to see. We have one from David. Add that to the queue. We have one from Human Error, which is also good. Add that to the queue. And we had one earlier from Future World Machines, which already said hello to before. So let's check those out just quickly. So there's a 5-pounder from Human Error, a little towards your Eurorack addiction. That's a good one. I like that one. That's a really, really good one. And we got $4.99.
Thanks, Human.
From David. Big thanks from David. That'll pop up in a sec. There it is there. Big thanks from David for that as well. I also should mention, while we've got everyone here, that there are a couple of Patreons in the show already. And it's always good to say hello to those. These are people that do painstakingly support me. And so big shout out to Kent Spong, who's in there. We've also got Inverted Popes, JX3D, and who else am I thinking of? I think that's all that's in there today. So a big shout out to my patrons that are actually in there. All right, cool. Let's go and say hello to everybody. We haven't had Daren on for a little while, so we'll start with you, Daren. How's your week been, or how's your few weeks been?
Right, I will try not to talk it. I'll be as quick as I possibly can to get through this. Where shall I start? Okay. I had my speakers blow out because I let the little purple person in here doing his album. He blew one set of speakers.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he blew one speaker, and also he blew the headphones as well.
Oh, no.
He's just he's obsessed with that. So that's them two things that have gone.
Is he in the dog box?
So, no, because he was desperate that he wants to do this album. So he said that he wanted to do a track. So tomorrow's track, so I'll get this out of the way first. Tomorrow's track is a collaboration between DTH and RD. You're gonna like it. You really are gonna like it. So watch it tomorrow. It's banging. Let's put it that way. It's what's left of the speakers. That track. His album's partly done, which is it's really mental. I'll tell you. He doesn't seem to want to put when I'm putting the tracks in order and I'm listening through them with him, asking him, what sort of track he wants next. He's just like, well, we'll go with this, and it's sort of like, well, that doesn't sort of like follow on from the track before, but he doesn't care, so it's completely whacked out album, hence the title. Secondly, I must thank you, Ranzee, for buying or paying for the EP. You shouldn't have done, but thank you very, very, very much for that. The third thing is, in 4 weeks, that big album is going to be out.
Wow.
The big album.
Wicked.
And
how big though?
Because 17 tracks worth.
CD size.
Yeah.
CD
Flop
size.
it out.
And
Flop it
because, leave it. I've already messed about with the Bastille ones before. Because I told you, the people who paid for any of my stuff would get an expanse. Well, I've sort of expanded the expanse to this now.
Holy crap. What are you doing?
So,
wow.
We now have...
That's a lot of expanse.
You will get... It is a lot of expanse. So...
Spared no expense for the expanse.
Look at that. So, there's 4 in a pack, right?
On the edge.
And it's...
Into.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
Into.
I can actually read upside down. From within.
Yeah. And the last one.
Daren.
Beyond.
You're going to have to send them all back. They've printed it upside down.
I know. So you'll be. I'm not decided on which one you'll get. For,
he drew it in front of the mirror, Andy.
So, but that'll be that.
The bit now. Just stop it.
Is there masking on there to go with the backward titles?
Yes, you get a mirror, so you can put the mirror on.
I bet you there's lots of reverse reverb on there.
Oh yeah, here we go. No,
so that's my week. 2 small speakers, trying to do that album for you know who.
Yeah.
Those albums coming out. The big album coming out in 4 weeks, mid-December. Keep your eyes on that because that's going to be huge. 17 tracks. You'll like it. It's melodic. It's trancey. It's you'll have to just download it and see what you like.
It's you, and it'll be ace. Full stop. It'll be amazing.
Darren,
I won't go that far, but it'll be good.
Darren, Bonnie, who's my dog here. Hi, Bonnie.
Oh,
hello. Bonnie is really, really interested in rave, Dave. She's got a few toys at home, and they're purple. And
he's staying well away.
Yeah. Anyway, it's good to have you back,
he
mate.
wants his arms. He needs his arms for the mixing desk.
Well, that's what he thinks. That's what he thinks.
You wait till tomorrow.
We should go on to saying a big hello to We've got two Andys. We'll start with Mr. Brooks, or Brooksy, we'll call him. Hello there, Brooksy.
Hi, everyone. I feel really guilty now because I've not done anything other than twiddle knobs and make stupid fart noises. Because that's all people that have modular synths do, isn't it? Make fart noises. But
pretty much.
Right. So we'll get off my arse and do some stuff. Right. Thank you to. Shall I say it all again? Have I got to go through all that stuff again about that mod? Yes, I will. Right. Thank you to Ranzee for ordering me this from the contributions that have been made in the super chat. So thank you. I've had my bit, so Daren can have his bit, I suppose, if that's how it's going to go. Well, yeah, thank you very much for that.
I don't want anything.
Really. Shut up, lad. Right, and so that's cool. And hello to everyone. But before we move on and say anything else, there is actually quite also an important announcement that it's Mac's 50th birthday. So
is it really?
So Stephen McIntyre, he was in the chat as Mark. Happy birthday, Mark. Happy birthday to Mark. Happy birthday to Mark.
Hey,
happy birthday to Mark.
We should also mention.
We
should also mention, because we nearly forgot about it, is Will also gave us a nice super chat as well. So let's get that up. Before you go on, Andy, sorry. We've got to address these as they come in.
I'm not going on anymore.
It will change in a sec. Sorry, David. We've already said yours. I just hate this stupid system. Why doesn't? There we go. DKK Danish Kronos, I think. 50 Danish Kronos from Will Joseph. 1/200th of what Daren needs for his new speakers. That's lovely. That's beautiful. Well, only 199 bits to go there, Daren.
I told him
beautiful.
Not to swear in a sine wave.
Beautiful. Excellent. Okay. Big happy birthday to Mac anyway. Andy, sorry, Brooksy, had you finished your little bit, or can we move on to?
Oh yeah, I've got nothing more to. Yeah, that's me done. Yeah.
Okay. Beautiful.
Hi everyone.
Beautiful. All right, we'll say hello to Andy, who's a synth addict, and nice to have you again on the show, mate. How's your week been?
Thank you. Crazy busy, but this is always something to look forward to. So I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, hopefully it's not too early for you. So has the clock gone worse for you?
No, it's always too early, but it's okay because it's fun. So I think I slept about 3-4 hours, but it's okay. That's what Saturday's for, is sleeping.
So we can't ask you too many curly questions today, right?
No, I'm fine. I had caffeine. I'm probably too wired now, but.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
But I was gonna say I recently got one of those to go along with Daren's joke. I recently got some Bastel stuff. And in this case, I can't show here. I left my Bastel at my girlfriend's place.
Just stay away from the park benches.
I don't have it here.
You left your
the Castle drum and the little Castle synth, which are actually quite powerful when you set them up right. But I love the Bastel stuff. It's great.
It is good, actually.
You're telling me I got arrested.
Right. Also, speaking of module, I got this little random from Qubit, which is really nice. Special random module. So looking forward to playing with that.
Oh, is it like a
Qubit? You say?
Is it like a Turing random? Is it a Turing random, or is it a different random?
It's a little bit of everything. I mean, they did a lot in a small package. It's sample and holds, various random algorithms, and some other little tricks in here that it's pretty powerful in the small little 4U package. So I'm looking forward to that. Little aleatoric action, as they say.
Aleatoric action. Wow, that's a big word. So you're definitely on song. That's for sure. Beautiful. Nice to see the synths in the background as well. And you got the JD 800 there.
Yeah, here's the one that's in the news. Right? The big one.
Yeah. So we might be talking about that a bit later. We won't give too much away. We might be talking about that.
Might we?
We might. Yes, we might. There are some other people we have to say hello to, and that's these wonderful people here. Look at them, the chat people, because really they're the most important people. I did say hello to a whole bunch of them earlier, so we'll just grab a sort of random amount of people we'll definitely say big happy birthday to Stephen, who's in the chat. Big hello to, who else is, I haven't said hello yet. Sasquatch, I don't think I've said hello to. Big hello to you. Ken Lewis. Who else? Kent, I think I said hello to Kent. Who else have I forgotten to say hello to? I think, George Kempson's in there. Big hello to George. Human Error. I think most of you guys were already on when we were saying hellos before, but anyone who's lurking in the back, in the shadows, who hasn't jumped into chat, now's the time, because your name will come up forever imprinted into this YouTube video. So quickly jump in and say hi. We're not going to bite. Dark Joints jumped in. Look at that. See? Fantastic. I had a dark joint once. Anyway, we won't talk about that. Right, okay, we should get stuck into the main part of the show. So...
I completely misheard that. I thought you said duck joint.
I don't know what that noise is. That's Andy's noise. Daren, what's the first segment that we usually do?
Are we on funny side?
Beautiful. Let's do it. Yes. End of the internet type stuff is where you find memes, and that's what we do every week. If you're new here, we show a couple. And these have come randomly in from various people. I can't remember who's who, but I think that one was from you, Andy, if I remember rightly. So a few people know, but the tiny little pocket on your jeans is for all the money you get as a musician. Yep.
That wasn't me, but that's a good one.
It was.
Some hissing.
I think that's from Andy. Yeah. Andy is not Brooksy, as in Andy. Yeah, it's coming from that way. Anyway, let's keep going. That one's hitting everyone where it hurts. This one I thought was good because it was just a post on a memes group in Facebook, and there's a little.
Who took a picture of my keyboard?
There's a little bit more to know about this post, right? Anyway, so it's kind of like this thing when you see people. The guy who posted this was actually wanting to make a joke, right? He knows that this obviously isn't correct. But then there's Miguel, who there's always a Miguel, or there's someone like a Miguel who just has to tell us what exactly it should be. It's like, we don't need you to tell us that, mate. We already know. But anyway, that's fun. I like that one. Now, I know we don't do a lot of guitars on. We don't do a lot of guitars, but look at this. This just really was bizarre. just bizarre. My God, what is this? That just had to go
real?
on.
I can imagine it being real.
It is real. I don't know about the $459 price tag. I mean, that's a bit of a stretch. Boom, boom. Actually, I'll probably even do that.
Yeah. Ooh.
More than a torture device.
Yeah. Wow. I'd like to see this guy's fingers afterwards. It almost looks contortion. Anyway, that is that. And then I just thought I'd show you guys a photo of my synth cabling. I did say to you that later on we're going to do a show on cabling, and this is the sort of stuff that you'll get to do if you follow my lead.
That was the back of my studio when I took it up.
Oh, God.
Now, which one's the Hydrosynth?
The blue one.
Yes, just pull it. You know when you pull a cable and then every cable comes with it?
Oh, shit.
And you just think everything's going
to fall over.
Is that my data center?
Yeah, but then the labels come off, Andy. That does my head in as well. I find labels on the floor and I go, oh, bugger, now I'm stuffed.
Yes.
Well, worse, you didn't label it.
Fair enough. All right. Well, that was funny side. Who here wants to tell us what's their favourite? Daren, what was your favourite?
Keyboard and probably pulling the studio apart with all that synth cabling. Actually, they're quite all funny, to be honest. They were all pretty funny.
Pretty good? Fantastic.
Good ones.
Very good. What about you, Andy? You got a favourite?
Which one, me or
which Andy?
Yeah, this
sorry.
Andy.
Okay,
we'll,
sorry.
we'll call this guy. We'll call this guy where he's down there, Brooksy.
Okay.
All right, just to make
Thanks.
it simpler for you.
Yeah, the label on the keyboard is great, especially if it's a Sharpie.
Yeah.
And the cables are also really great. I mean, my floor looks like that kind of, sort of. So.
Yeah. I have to dig up that photo of my my Roland Gaia SH01 or whether they're called those synths, which when I originally got it, I bought it and it had orange nail polish on all the C keys. I'll have to show you the photo of it because I've actually since repaired it. But anyway, it kind of reminds me of that post actually. Right, we should go into the next segment because we've got a big, huge, massive news. Yes, we have big, massive news this week, and you can't see my face, and that's because I've done that deliberately, because we are going to go straight into this. Bang. Right, this is the DIY synth from a guy called Albert Nystrom, who, has done a pretty good job actually. Let's go back to here, and I'll just bring the graphic up. I think it's that one. Cool. I will put the video link in the description. You guys can check that out later if you haven't seen it yet. He's actually made this thing from scratch. He's made it, it's a homemade synth. So this is not really something that you can go out and buy, but I will give you some sort of hints as to how he's made it. It's a 3-voice analog or 3 VCO analog with FM and sync, VCF, 2 EGs, 2 LFOs, and FX. You can actually see it all there on the screen anyway. Now, what's interesting about this is the oscillators are 3340 chips. The filter design is from the Mortiz Klein's Vectra VCF. And there's some people in the chat who know what I'm talking about with this stuff because we've been talking about this sort of stuff probably over the last year in Discord. The envelopes are based on the Thomas Henry's 555 envelope generator. The FX is actually a DSP from, it's called a DSP1. If you actually go into AliExpress and you type in the search box, DSP100 reverb module, that's where he gets his FX. And you can actually see on the right-hand side under FX, you can actually see the little LED display under the knob. That's exactly what the module looks like. So he's literally just whacked that in and sort of linked the audio routing through that. So it's all analog signal up till that point anyway. He's built this for less than $180 US. Now, if you actually take the key step that he's mangled out of it, it's only going to cost you around 110. So that's pretty impressive, including the wood. So some thoughts, gentlemen?
Well, we better get learning one end of a soldering iron from another, because if you can do it for that price, amazing.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be interesting to ask Adamski how much he spent on his, because I bet it'll be more. But it looks great and it sounds great, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Now, just remember too, a lot of this stuff is really freely available. So you just, those things that I just mentioned to you, the oscillators, the VCFs, the EGs, they are all projects on GitHub or websites, or you can just get the chip, the 3340 chip from Cool Audio. There's ways to get all this sort of stuff pretty cheaply these days. So I will post a link. I don't know if I can do it right now, but I will post a link. I've lost my link that I can post but I will put it into the video description later once the video goes up. Okay, so we should get back into the rest of the news. The next item on the agenda is this. This is a interesting little thing here. It's by a company called AVP Synth, and it's called the Quadwave. It's a multi-FX unit which features an analog phaser and 2 stereo delays. The phaser is like a reasonably basic phaser with the rate, the manual, or CV controlled and depth. It can be controlled via LFO or manual. And it has, this is the bit which is, I think, is quite interesting. It's got 4 analog delays, or 4 delays, I should say. They're hybrid delays, I should say. And if you want to pair them, you can see how it's got delay 1L, delay 1R. You can pair them and you've got 2 stereo delays. Now, let's have a little look at it, and we'll tell you a bit about more of it in a sec. Let me just get the video lined up for you guys. Oh, I actually had the reverb module. Actually, I should show you guys that first, shouldn't I? AliExpress reverb module. I should do that first. Sorry, I forgot about that. Sorry. We're jumping from one thing to another, and no one knows why. There you go. I just wanted to show you, that's the reverb module you use. So what is that, £10 to put in your synth? So you can see that all this sort of stuff makes for a pretty cheap synth. Anyway, let's go back to the video. We're going to show that analog phaser thing. Here we go. Ready, set, go. Right, gentlemen and ladies, there is ladies in the chat, so I can say that. €400 for this puppy. Just want that one on you. Yeah, don't know if I'd part way with €400 for that sort of effects, but thoughts, guys? We'll start with you, Andy. Your thoughts on that? I know you're a bit of a phaser fan.
Yeah, no, it sounded great. I'm still actually saving up for a Moog 12-step phaser, but yeah, it's nice. I like, whether it's digital or analog, I like phasers a lot, especially when a stringy kind of patch or you know, kind of Rhodesy kind of patch or whatever. But it sounded pretty good to me. Yeah.
Oh, it does. It sounds lovely. What do you think about how let me get that graphic up again while I got you there, Andy. What do you think about how where's the graphic gone? Here it is. The stereo part doesn't have some sort of ability to link the time in some sort of, you know, like you might want to have a ping pong effect or 1/8 beat or something like that. It just seems to be like a manual time control. Do you reckon that's a bit of a missy sort of option there? I think
this day and age, if you don't have modulation patch points up the wazoo, then they're missing the boat, right? Because you look at something like the night, what is it, the Starlab? Is it the new one? The Strymon Starlab.
Yeah.
Which has, you know, tons of modulation points on it, or Magneto or whatever. You need. It doesn't have to be for modular necessarily, but you need that option. Otherwise, it's, you know, it's not as attractive. Like the Dr. the Dr. A reverb delay
beautiful module. Yeah.
Sounds wonderful, but also, yeah, has a decent amount of connectivity. It's not just a standalone box.
And it's about the same price as this too.
Yeah, it wasn't cheap, but for what it does, it's pretty nice. But this is definitely nice as well. It's very, very colorful, perfect for fall.
Yeah. So it is missing a clock input, I think. Yeah. Daren or Andy, Brooksy, do you want to have a comment about this?
I think it looks great. It looks great. It sounds really cool. I do think that €400 is quite a hefty price tag, but yeah, I don't know. I think we're all familiar with standard sort of delay effects. So you can have. Look, I was just looking at it. You've got left and right 1, left and right 2, and you can set the time differently on each of them. So you can actually get it doing differently timed taps on different places. I think the potential. I've no idea how long the reverb time is going to be. I mean, if it's a Bucket Brigade based kind of delay, it won't be hugely long. But if you got sort of 300 milliseconds or something like that, you'll be able to get some interesting rhythmic sort of loops going. Yeah. I just thought it was interesting. But 400 quid's a hefty chunk.
Yeah. So on the website, Andy Brooksy, they actually do say under one of the little comments here that the second delay 2, allows the input self-oscillate into crazy feedback modulation, especially mixed with the LFO. So it's like a tape mangling type effect, they're calling it. But yeah, you can pre-order it for €400. I don't know when did they say it was going to become available? They haven't really said there. Okay, cool. So yeah, anyway, Daren, other than your usual answer?
I'd pretty much say what both Andys have said, because I've got the TC Electronics quad delay. Was it 3 delays, which you can run in parallel or series, which is quite cool. So, yeah, I think it's quite cool actually. Put that with that into the Strymon. I wonder that would be quite interesting, wouldn't it? That'd be just a wall of ambient sound. So, and like Andy says, I do like the way that you don't necessarily have, it's manual to sort of find the timing of it. There's not timing on it. And it's sort of a double-edged sword, really, isn't it? I mean, in one respect, it's good, but then on the other hand, you really do need to have, like, quarters, eighths, whatever you're having to have. Sort of, I don't know, it's a bit tricky on that respect, whether you like it or not that way. But yeah, I think it sounds quite nice, and it's got phase on it, and pretty much what both Andys have said.
I haven't actually seen a phaser and a delay together in a pedal.
No.
Yeah. All right. Beautiful. We'll move on to the next one. Now, the next one is actually really, really cool. Let's have a listen. Oh, not that. Wrong button. That's what I wanted. Yes.
Oh.
What you're listening to, and I haven't got a video to show you, is the new Dreadbox Dysphonia DIY module. So yes, they've dropped another project. These are really cool, these guys. This is a full voice synthesizer module in a Eurorack format. You can actually make it into a desktop format as well. I'll tell you about that in a sec. It's a DIY kit. Now let's not get too worried about the DIY kit. I'll tell you why in a sec as well. But it provides a pre-assembled board with all the SMD parts completed and tested. So all you need to do is only solder the sockets and assemble the bits, and it's ready to rock and roll. And that actually saves you money. The reason why you can make it into a desktop is because it actually features a USB power converter, so you can just put it into a little desktop case and use it that way. The synth itself is divided into 13 sections. Yep, it's got quite a lot of sections in this. Let's have a little pause on the music for a sec. Right, so the sections are obviously here. You've got the oscillator. Now the oscillator, let's talk about that a sec. It's an analog VCO with square, with pulse width, saw, triangle, and noise. So you've got all those there. And you have CV control and fine tuning and all that sort of stuff, as well as the main tuning. You've also got a VCA mixer here, and that's actually pretty handy, that, with the multi sort of mixer setup you've got here. But it's also got 2 filters. It's got a 24 dB 4-pole low pass, a 12 dB 2-pole multi-mode. The VCA, as I was mentioning before, the reason why this is cool is it's a 3-way mult. So you can have connectivity into this and then out in various different ways. So that's actually quite handy. It does take up a bit of space on that too. But you'll find that that's actually very handy. I don't think it's normalized inside the patching, so that's probably why they've done that. Anyway, so talking about MIDI to CV, Kent, it's actually got a MIDI to CV converter in it, which is right there on the bottom left-hand side. It has snappy envelope generators. They're calling them 1 milliseconds per stage, which is pretty snappy, and a wide range of LFOs. Now, when they're saying wide range, that means from the rate itself is actually pretty wide, like very, very slow to very, 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 very quick. And this is all just the analog part. Then you go into the digital modulator, which has 4 different modes. It has a multi-wave LFO with a delay, sample and hold with a random generator. It has AD or AR envelope generators. It has MIDI CC modulation. And the last part, it has a hybrid echo processor with CV control, which you can see on the bottom right. And guess where that comes from? The Erebus. So they've put a bit of Erebus into this as well. And everyone actually likes that Erebus echo. All right, so price-wise, I don't think you can get the early bird special, which was $185 anymore. You've had to be extremely quick for that. I clicked on it earlier today. It is normally $230, but you can try. It does say $185 here, but you can see it's zeroed out there. Yeah, there's a few other bits and pieces there. Anyway, who wants to have a quick word about that baby?
Oh, I love I love Dreadbox, and they did the little Erebus, didn't they? Which was very similar sort of thing. But then they never seem to. They should just make it available, not just limited. That little Erebus thing, that's always out of stock, or they don't make it anymore. It's discontinued, and it's a pain because they're really, really good little. Like I say, you don't need to be great at DIY because it's pretty easy to fit together, supposedly. But yeah, I love them, but they're just so limited that you never really get a chance to get them.
Yeah, they're only a little small boutique company, though, aren't they? In Athens.
Yeah, I sort of understand that, but they still should, not discontinue, just keep them going, even if it is small numbers, so you can eventually get it at some point.
They are saying that,
especially the first run Erebus, it was all through hole, so it was a lot of manual labor.
Yeah, which a lot of people still swear by is the better one too. Even though it did have tuning issues, but it's still the better one. Yeah, there you go. Yep. Keep Dave away from that, Daren, if you can.
Oh God, jeez, yeah, telling me.
I only have the Typhon. I like their stuff a lot, but I only have the Typhon, which is a nice module.
Yeah. What do you think about this as a Eurorack sort of thing?
I love when they do something that's convertible like this, just like in other gear type of stuff where they consider portability and stuff. This is considering rackable or not rackable, which is great if you're a rack person or not. One thing somebody made a comment about, which I thought was interesting and probably for a good reason, is the area that's the logo. Takes up a lot of space, and for Eurorack, it's like, well, that's precious space you're missing out on. So maybe the power supply is behind there, and that's why they did that, so you can kind of hide the power supply. But other than that, it seems that's unfortunate to have that space taken up.
Yeah, it is. So Andy, what you're talking about, so just so people know, it's this. I'll just put it over your face. So apologies there. It's the logo on the top right. So I'm really, really good at Photoshop, Andy. I don't know if you know. I've won awards, and I just wanted to show you how good I am at Photoshop. There you go. Look at that.
Hey, there you go.
So what I've done is I've said, well, why don't you just move the echo to the part where the logo was, and you could save all that little bit of extra HP for your Eurorack. Hey, isn't that great? Sorry. That should have been in the synth main
they
section.
could have put the name at the top and then Dreadbox at the bottom. So they could have put a little room on the strips at the top and bottom to label it if they really wanted to. But I understand they want a flashy logo because they're into graphical looks. They like the colors. They like the shapes and all that stuff. So and you want to be eye catching on a video somewhere. Hey, he's got that thing. I want that.
It could be.
Yeah, from a precious space point of view, it's unfortunate that they took so much with the logo.
We might even be able to find out why. I mean, looking at these photos here, that's the kit. Brooksy, I'll come to you in a sec. Well, you can offer your comments while we're scrolling here if you want. There's a sort of side view there. Can't really tell.
It could be for noise too. They had to move stuff off under that area for noise issues.
Yeah,
you know?
Can't really tell. Brooksy, your thoughts?
Well, I'm going to say I understand exactly what Andy's just said, but I suspect it's also exactly what he said. There'll be a reason why that's the case. I mean, I think Dreadbox, they know their stuff with these things. They know what they're doing. I'm actually quite intrigued by this. I do like the idea of a sort of self-contained synth voice for your Euro rack. I mean, the idea is not new. Why not? But all that amount of patching that's in there is obviously giving flexibility to the unit. So it might cost you £250 for that module or whatever it was, but you're getting all these different modules within it, which can be patched elsewhere. It seems like a really good idea. And as we know, it's Dreadbox. It's going to sound great. Of course it is, because they always do. So yeah, definitely interested, even if it means I have to learn how to use a soldering iron.
It's not too bad, the soldering side of it. How many HP was it?
Yeah, you've done it before. I never have.
True.
That would be
that
like
is true.
Telling somebody that's never done it before. There's a passage of Cicero, now translate it into English.
Yeah, I couldn't find anywhere where it told us how many HP it was. But that's
especially
fine.
if they have some SMT in there. SMT is really tough to work with unless you're an expert.
Yeah, that is true. But they did, like I said in the comments when I put this thing together, they did say that they've the kit itself, which I showed you before, has all the SMD components already pre-soldered. So all you have to do is just the sort of mechanical stuff, and that is generally speaking a good beginner's way to learn. If this kit would probably be a good one for those who did want to start doing that. But by the way, you can actually ask Dreadbox to make it for you. It costs a little bit more, but they will do it if you have to just send them. There was something on the website about it, or a Facebook post. I can't remember where I saw it, but they will make it for those who don't want to sit there and burn their fingers on the soldering iron. Right, okay, let's look at this one. This one I thought was very interesting. All right, while it's done that, buffering time, we will stop the video. It does go for another 55 minutes, so we probably don't have time to watch it all, although it was pretty cool to watch, I have to admit. This is the baby here. It's the Jeannie by a group of people called TubeOhm Instruments. What is it? What is it? Exactly. Yes, it's another DIY synth, but this one is an 8-voice polysynth. Yes, it is DIY. This project features the Teensy processor, which is a Teensy 4.1 for those playing along at home and want to know a little bit more about that. It's an 816 megahertz CPU. But yeah, let's not get too nerdy. This is the brains for the 8-voice polysynth. It has 2 oscillators per voice, including sync and FM. It has a multi-mode Chamberlain filter. There you go. Wave shaper, 2 EGs, 2 LFOs, and a step sequencer. You can also add an optional DSP board for effects. You can either get the bare PCB without pre-soldered SMD parts. This is the bit which scares people, right? This is the bit that nobody wants to do. It's only 63.9 euros. Or you can do the pre-soldered SMD version for 92.3 euros. Or you can get the full kit with everything all done and parts for 294 euros. You have to buy the power supply and the SD card separately. Yeah. What should we do? We should do this. No, wrong button. Who likes the sound of that? Who wants? I think this is probably like a synthetic sort of synth. This one.
Yeah, it was John Carpenter vibes there. More kind of modern John Carpenter.
Yep.
That, yeah.
No, yeah. Well, John Carpenter meets Trent Reznor, I guess, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
But
yeah.
but no, it was nice. It's has an interesting little case and some good controls on it. So it's nice to see new stuff coming out with slightly different designs, different colors, different textures, all that stuff.
Yeah. Andy, as in Brooksy, your thoughts?
Yeah, like everything we've seen so far. Looks great, sounds great. So this show's going to cost me a bloody fortune.
I did warn you.
I've already decided I want a boutique.
Oh wow. Okay, we haven't even got there yet. Daren.
We'll get to that. No, we haven't yet, have we?
Yeah, it looks. I'm gonna do what Mac doesn't like. Yeah, it looks okay. Yeah.
But I'm thinking that this will fit in your studio, mate. This will fit. You'll be able to squeeze this in somewhere without too much Vaseline.
That, or I can get a case and go mobile with it because it doesn't look huge, does it?
No, it's definitely not. Well, let's have a look. Let's have a
make
little.
Up a nice.
There's a picture there. I
can't do with all the DIY stuff though. That's the only problem. I'd have to have one.
Yeah, you have to get it built. Yeah. So there's all the technical data. I'll put a link into the description later. Yeah, I mentioned all that before. It does have a graphic LCD display, which I thought was actually pretty reasonable on this too. I forget the size of it. It does say somewhere. But 248 patches can be stored on the SD, micro SD. And yeah, these are the different boards that you get with it, and the different versions that you'd buy, whether you buy the pre-assembled or the one with the case. The case is similar.
Yeah,
it looks like a 3D printed case, isn't it? It's one of those ones.
Yeah. The power supply, which you have to buy yourself, what is it? Is it 12 volts, is it?
They did say that somewhere.
Yeah,
speaking of Bastel, the case looks like a micro granny.
1 amp, 12 volts. Yeah.
So you could have your Bastels and that as well in a small case as a mobile thing, couldn't you?
Yeah. Micro Grammy. Beautiful. All right. Quick look at the chatties. We've got more news, but I just always like to sort of jump in a little bit with the chatties, see if they've made any sort of profound comments. And tell us what you like so far. We've had 2 DIY synths, well, 3 really, if you want to call the first one, and a guitar pedal, a synth guitar pedal. Yeah, cool. All right, we will go on to the next part of the news, which is now starting to get into the really, really, really nitty-gritty stuff. We have talked about this thing before. In fact, we will actually show a video that we have shown before this. Oh, don't buffer on me. This is probably one of the most expressive synths that I have seen in a long time, and there's a pretty cool bunch of reasons for it. So we did show you this back in September. If you do watch the show, you'll be like, oh yeah, that's right, I saw that. It's a new hybrid Vector synthesizer from Future Retro called Vectra. The reason why we're showing it again is because you can actually get it now. It's not just a thing of dreams. It's both analog and digital elements in this thing. So let's refresh our memory. Its core is a semi-modular monophonic or 8-voice paraphonic mode. There are 4 digital oscillators with virtual analog and 500 digital waveforms to choose from. Plus it has sync and PWM for those who like the nick-back face. Waveform, phase, slice, fade features, including constant beat detuning, FM, AM, ring mod per oscillator. That is just per oscillator. On top of that, you've got wave shaping options. You also get a dedicated LFO, envelope generators and VCAs per oscillator. There's a 4-channel mixer, which offers vector mixing, which we'll talk about in a sec, modulation, mixing, and balance. And the big modulation engine with 5 multi-wave LFOs, 6 morphing EGs. You get 500 plus waveforms there. Let's bring up the graphic while we've got it too, because I've got a nice little clear picture here. Looks a bit better. Okay. And what else? I talked about the 500 plus waveforms for the LFO. Each can work with sub-audio to audio rates, the keyboard tracking and sync, FM and more. This is just on the LFOs. Then the EGs, envelope generators, are DAH with loops. Each EG has different types, including one-shot, multi-curve, looping, and morphing. And then once again, 500 plus internal signal routes to play with on the envelope generators. One thing I noticed on the video is that you would have seen that 29-note interesting looking keyboard. It's a capacitive touch keyboard. But look at this. It's got your standard note on and off, pitch, velocity of course, but it also has aftertouch. And you'll notice that guy was kind of moving his hand up and down, his fingers up and down the keys. It has auto glide, pitch bend and mod wheel controls. There's also an ARP and a sequencer, which can be linked to each other so you can go from sequencer mode to ARP mode seamlessly. But obviously the big noticeable thing here, guys, is the 4 distinctive XY joysticks on top, which alter the multiple parameters simultaneously. And that part is really where this thing shines. And on top of that, you also get another 8 customizable encoders you see just around the screen in the middle there. Now, price-wise, it's $1,100 US, a pre-order of $550 down payment. Units will start shipping around spring, which is around April 2022. It's not spring for us, but spring for you guys in the Northern Hemisphere. All right, now, I know, Andy, I'm going to go to you again first because I know that you're really, no, that's not Andy. That's Andy. You're really excited about this, aren't you?
Yeah, actually, the only future retro thing I have is the Zillion sequencer that's based on the Tridex Muse. But I've liked their stuff over the years. And of course, I love joysticks. The Planar 2 joystick on the modular is awesome. Yeah. So anything with that tactile nature and variability, especially if the sticks feel good. These look like decent sticks, but you never know until you actually try it. But they put them close enough so people are complaining like, hey, I only have 2 hands. But they put them close enough where you can, put your fingers out and you can, use two different parts of your hands at the same time. If you're not playing anything, you have a sequence going. Especially if you don't like the tactile keyboard, which some people don't, the touch plate. So you could just fire off a sequence and then just use the sticks, like on an old VCS3 or something. Good stuff.
Yeah. A few people are saying in the chat that this display looks too small. Probably is a little tad
Yes,
small.
we know the displays are too small.
Sorry, my chair's really squeaky today. It's one of those things, isn't it? You can't win. You've got a certain amount of real estate on these things. Like, there's the real estate he's got. He's trying to make this a fairly compact synth. But yeah,
you can definitely get a bit bigger screen in there. I'm talking like a 24-inch plasma in front of me. That'll be about right.
Yeah, but that's what
I mean, even the fancy modal synths have small screens and they're expensive. So
yes. Yeah. Brooksy, your thoughts on this? Quite expressive, this thing, isn't it?
Well, I sort of remember making a comment last time, like, look at the synth. I'd quite like that SSL box that's behind it, or those big Pultec EQs. Not that there'd be any benefit to me in this room whatsoever. Well, I was thinking they're really nice. I think it's a really interesting thing. I mean, that vector synthesis thing with the joysticks has been around a long time. It's getting a bit of a resurgence with the wave state, with the or Mod Wave, whichever one of the Korg one was with the wiggly stick on it.
Yep.
I think it's a great idea. For all the things that you said about it, everything you said made me go less interested. Because as soon as you ramp up that complexity with only those, okay, they've got 4 joystick controllers and 8 knobs. That's not a huge amount of hands-on control for what seems like massive amounts of parameters.
Well, there is. There's a lot.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh.
Well, have a look at this, Andy.
Again, I think it's one of those things. It's one of those things that
this is all the stuff that's got in it. Like it just goes on and on and on. It's massive, like you said.
Yeah, I've just run for the hills, mate. I think I should write a song about that.
Yeah, and you might be wearing purple while you say it. Beautiful. Okay, Daren, I know you love. I know you love big.
Purple's copyright.
I know you love big screens.
Purple's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they made this purple,
the price is purple. Someone might be interested in it. I wouldn't be, but someone might be. The price is 1,100.
Yeah, 1,100. Yep.
That's not too bad, I suppose, for the synth of what it's capable of. It's not a ridiculous price. Yeah. I was going to say something then, and it's completely gone. But yeah, screens. Why can't they just can't they make some sort of like, I don't know? You can plug your iPad in. I think Ken was saying you can get iPad screens. Just something. I just need a bigger screen.
Maybe it does have connectivity. I don't know. Yeah, we should ask them. But anyway, look. If it's
going to be that complicated, you know, if it's quite basic, then yeah, fair enough. You don't really need good screens. But the more complex you get, the screen's going to have to be, you know, bigger if you're really having to delve into things like that. That's my point. I don't mind having small screens if it's quite a, you know, one knob for function or thereabouts. But the more complex you make something with a smaller screen, just becomes more tedious, and I just give up and just it's just too much.
Which, you know, a lot of people will say Electron suffered from that with their gear. So, and their stuff is highly complicated in some respects and quite simple in other respects. But you know that does go to lessons learned. You know, which is why Akai brought their gear out with big screens, or bigger screens, I should say. Some people still whinged about the size of their screens too. You can't please everyone in this world. You just can't. If you
want cheaper Vector stuff with a stick on the go, get the Prophet VS app for iPad. Nice little stick right there.
There you go. See iPad
all day long.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So,
and that's not $1,100 either.
Sounds. No, it was like $10 or whatever. So
there you go.
but one interesting thing to note about about this demo, a lot of people are saying because the thing doesn't have built-in effects.
Yeah, it doesn't.
To kind of drench it in effects is not necessarily the best first demo because you can't really hear the synth properly. Also, as Andy was saying, it's going through a compressor and had vintage mode. Someone who knows that really well was commenting on the light that was on. That thing's running in vintage mode, so it's being grunged up and character added all over the place. So you got effects, you've got character, you got all this stuff added to the demo. It's not the best demo if you kind of tweak it like that.
Good point. Yeah, I mean there was some big outboard gear, wasn't there, Andy, on that? And yeah, we're all salivating over the outboard gear, not necessarily so much over the synth.
Yeah, and you're hearing mostly that, I think, because it's being really affected.
Well,
yeah, true.
Yeah, I suspect that SSL channel strip that it's going through probably costs 3 times the price of the synth.
Well, some nice gear though. Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't we love to get our hands on that? I think there's some Eventide stuff on the other side as well. Who knows what was going through that?
There was. Yeah, there's an AMS in a rack there over there. I noticed that, and yeah.
yeah. Hey, look, we should.
Much people come out with demos for it. It's hard to tell what you're buying if that's their main demo, and it's affected to hell.
Yeah.
Yeah. We should move on because we've still got more news, and it's actually getting pretty cool, the amount of news we've got this week. I actually like it when we have big news, please. What about this? Yes. We have to do this, don't we?
We do.
Yep, it is a very, very short scraped off demo of David. He's pretty cool, David. I like him. This is the first of the 2 boutiques that have come out. Look, half of the shows that you guys already watch have already talked about this. I'm going to talk about it again because I've got a few things I want to add. Maybe it's been said, but it's going to be said again with my sort of flavour. Let's just go through a little bit about this. Okay, so as this information came out during the week, people were scratching their heads about, oh no, this is going to be another boutique with limited voices. And we kind of, as you probably might remember, sort of traveling through the week, we kind of slowly found out some of the things about how much polyphony some of these synths had. So we'll deal with the JD08 first, and we'll talk about the JX08 in a sec. So the JD08 has, where did I write it? 128 voices of polyphony, okay? Which, Andy, what does the original have? Because you've got it there. The original was 64, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe so. I'm unfortunately, my specs aren't 100% on that model, even though I have it right next to me here. So.
Yeah. Someone will tell us in the chat. Anyway, I just had a feeling. 24. Daniel just told us in the chat. Okay, cool. So it's massively, more improved in that sense. And don't forget, the original JD800 was a digital synth as well. So Roland will, to their credit, they'll pack that down into SMD components, and this thing will, be a very, very faithful recreation of the sounds of that. It's a very, very small form factor. And obviously looking at those sliders, that's probably going to be the biggest issue. Not just so the palette sliders are bigger, but I'm talking about the sliders to the right where you've got the LFOs, the rates, and all that sort of stuff. That's going to be the big sort of talking point that some people will talk about. Yeah, it's kind of that. Look, it's got 4-part, is it 2-part? No, 4-part multi-timbral, 256 memory locations. It's got all your standard boutique stuff with the built-in speaker, the AA batteries, the K25M external keyboard module. You can connect it up, like you can see in the video. MIDI, USB, and it's also got an external clock input, which is actually on the far right-hand side, which is actually something the original doesn't have. 108
and sequencer and arpeggiator.
Yep, sequencer, arpeggiator, 108 waveforms. Now the sequencer is, I think, 2 parts, which makes it really interesting. So yeah, I do like this. 64 steps per, sequence, 8 notes per part, which means it's a polyphonic 2-part 64-step sequencer, which is another. It's kind of like every time Roland bring out a boutique, they kind of, the basic sort of boutique, let's forget about the synth itself, but the actual boutique structure seems to improve each time, which is a good thing if you're a boutique lover. I'm not going to knock anyone who likes boutiques, as I own them as well. So yeah, before we go on to the JX08, let's talk about this one. So, I'm going to go with Andy again, Synth Addict, because he is an owner of a JD800. You can see it right behind him there.
Yeah. Let me hand model here. So.
I prepared this earlier.
Yeah. No, it's a great unit. I was lucky to get this like 10 years ago for a song in mint condition. And I was drooling over this when I was a kid, in the stores, thinking, oh, I'll never be able to afford this thing. Look at all these sliders. Roland's on the right path again. But then, it was just too much money. And then eventually got this. And then I got the little brother, the JD990, which actually has some better sonic features, even though it's a rack mount, a little harder to use.
Yeah.
but they're compatible. You can supposedly run the sliders through and stuff. I never tried it, but
you can use it as a controller. Yeah, you can.
But,
yep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but they sound great. The one sad thing is, ever since this news for the boutique came out, people are joking about the red glue and they should, or the VST should have dripping red glue and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, the red glue's not such a big deal. This thing's been covered now for, I don't know, a week, maybe closer to a month actually at this point. I lifted it up the other day. It hasn't even been that warm. I have the red glue problem now. So.
Oh no.
Yeah. I didn't zoom in on the camera, but if you can see these little metal tabs here.
Yeah.
Oh, the camera shows that very well.
Yeah, I can see it.
That's the detaching from the red glue.
Yep.
They fell down, so I'm going to have to just, unstick them. But, most of the keys still work. In fact, since you guys probably know, the JD800 is like the descendant of the D50 in a lot of ways. I put both Fantasia patches on here, so you can see if you can hear this. That sound okay?
Mm-hmm.
So that's D50, and then this is Fantasia 90 on the JD800. So it's obviously much fancier.
Yeah.
Better effects. The one thing about the JD990 that was praised is at the same time some of the other stuff came out with these kind of Rompler waves in it. They were more compressed. This is CD quality waves in it. So that's why the sound is so good on it. It's not compressed. This is the standard normal quality you expect to have a quality synth. But some of the Korg stuff and other guys at the same time were being cheap and saving space by compressing their waves.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, it's a great unit though. Yeah, it's a beautiful unit.
Yeah. I mean, obviously you won't need the boutique because you've got one.
But I like the boutique, so I'm going to get one anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm crazy.
Right.
I until these new ones came out, I have all the boutiques. I'm nuts.
So you're a boutique collector.
Actually, yeah, I mean, obviously the people complain about the string synth one.
Mm-hmm.
The VPO3 because it's not as good. Of course, they just kind of screwed up on that one.
They did.
Considering ACB is so good, they really screwed up on that one. But it has its uses. It's still decent for certain things. But DCB, like the little D50 boutique, which I have as well, is awesome. Plus, they added the sequencer, the arpeggiator, gobs of patch memory. The little stick is still there. This little additional stick you have for mixing, just like on the K1. All that is on the little boutique, and they even have a high quality mode. They let you use the standard mode and the high quality D50 mode, which they came up for the boutique especially. So, and it's portable, and so of course the sliders don't throw as well as they should in the small space. But if you're really that interested in it, you can always hook up. Like I have a Kenton Control Freak or some other kind of slider-based controller for MIDI to go to town on sliders. So, and when you consider modular stuff is mostly knob-based, to have sliders at all is actually nice because sometimes you want to control multiple parameters at once. And unless you have some friends to help you out, you can't do that with knobs.
Yeah, exactly. You can just sort of spread your fingers like the Guitar Man before.
Basically.
Right. I don't know. Daren, you've got some boutiques. What do you think about the
I've got one
JD8?
left. I like the sound. I'm just not a fan of the boutiques anymore. I just think it's just too. If they made it, but you're just gonna say, yeah, but that's just stupid because it's not a boutique. But if it was made about that size, that'd be perfect for me. That's the size I like. But boutiques, they're just too small. I'm not saying it's not a good little boutique, but I've only got the TB03. I haven't got any others left, so I think I know people will probably say, yeah, but it's great. It's just this nice form factor. And the sliders, I know you can MIDI out the sliders and have bigger ones, but I just find them too small. Watch this. I'll have a flipping rack mount of flipping boutiques next time you see the studio.
Yeah. Anyway, That's fine. Brooksy, your thoughts? We'll go to the JX08 in a sec.
Well, I have to say, I am to an extent with Daren. I only have the one boutique. I've only got the. I went and fetched it, the SH018, and you can see on here these sliders. You know, you think, well, it's really small. On this one, it works. Now that the JP08, they were really, really small. And it looks to me like the sliders on the JD08 are even smaller still. And I looked at these and thought, oh my word, they're tiny.
Yeah.
You'll never be able to dial
They
anything.
are. Yep.
And yeah, I've sat and I've thought about it, and I just think I'm not with Daren on this. I think it looks fantastic. And I actually am very, very tempted by the JDO. I'm actually tempted by the other one we're going to talk about in a minute as well. But I quite like this form factor. I have done. I only have the one though, so that's my bit on the JD08. I think it's going to sound amazing because the thing does, and it'll give us access to those sounds, and we will be able to tweak it. I mean, we had one in Chillage People. I can't keep my mates about Chillage People, but again, it wasn't mine. It was Rupert's. He managed to, again, he picked one up for a song, and I loved playing it. I loved using it, but it's not easy to program. Don't think it's easy to program just because it's covered in sliders. It's an awful lot easier than a D50, but it's still difficult because you've got all of that surface control times 4.
Because it's 4 parts.
So you've got 4 layers of it. Yeah, and you got that's where that little palette thing comes in. So, well, yeah, I think it's great. I'm glad they've done it.
Be nice if they did something similar to the JDXI. Do you remember that came out? And that's all 4-part. You know, having sliders and stuff, and that would have been really good. But it's
that's a cool little synth in itself.
Speaking of sliders on the SH01, Andy, you'll actually be happy to know that these are the same size on the JX08. So that is actually a good thing.
I'd already sort of worked that one out as well. I sort of was doing a sort of mental, I think there. Yeah. Again, that's why this one, I think you'll be definitely very interested.
Yeah. We'll have a little listen. I will say before we get stuck into the JX08 that I'm probably going to sort of boast a little bit here. I'm quite well versed with the sounds of the original JX08 in the sense that I've got an MKS70. And an MKS70 is 2 JX8Ps in a rack mount. So I know the synth very well. I know how it sounds. And I can tell you that you won't be disappointed. Or will you? There might be one little thing that you might be disappointed about. Right, well, that is a little bit of a demo of the sound of that. If you haven't seen it before, now you have for the first time. Woohoo! Most people have seen it. Look, this is the second of the 2 boutiques. Obviously, we did talk about it. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. It has 20 voice polyphony, and the original had 6. So this is a flip to what they did with the Jupiter, the JU08. Where it only had 4 voice polyphony and the original had 8. So this is actually a big thing. But there is a little caveat here, and the caveat will be said by me with a little asterisk, and that is, more information please, Roland, because they use the term analog modelling. So it's not ACB. This is analog modelling. So probably some sort of Zencore technology, I would, be educated guess. But it is based obviously on the JX8P. I loved the JX8P. When it originally came out, it was one of those synths that had hardly any controls on the top. It was all buttons and LCD screen and that. And people used to hate that about it. But actually, I love the sound of it. It's a beautiful analog synth. But on this one, the good news is that we've got all the... when you bought the actual original JX8P, you had to buy an external controller. So this has got the controller controls built into the boutique version. So you're getting sort of, the best of both worlds plus extra polyphony as well. However, let's have a little sort of talk about how it sounds. Now, being an owner of an MKS70, yes, it's a Super JX, but they are actually the same as JX8Ps. I actually think it sounds just the same. Obviously, you could probably go into viewing waveforms on oscilloscopes and things like that, and you might be able to pick it. But I think that's the most important thing. It does have the essence of a JX8P in it, and for most people, that should be enough. However, one of the cool things, apart from the 20-voice polyphony, is it features 17 new effect types, including a Juno 106 chorus, which I think is a really cool thing, because the JX8P has a different, slightly different chorus. It's still a MN 3009 chip chorus, but it's slightly different to Juno in the sense of the way the LFO rates work. But that's actually cool. So 32 presets, 100 from the original, 111 new presets. What else we got? Lo-fi compression, pitch shifter as some more effects. Once again, the same thing, 2-part 64-step sequencer with random pattern generator. So these are the other cool things I'm talking about that they're bringing on the new boutiques that they weren't on the originals, right? Random pattern generator, 2-part steps, onboard ARP, which 2-part multi-timbral playing, dual split keyboard, plus all the standard stuff that boutiques have, like the external clock-in, MIDI, USB, speakers, batteries, and the Cave 25M module connection. Now, if you're living in Australia, they're $649, both of them, and they're €399 available now for pre-order. Yes, it's a little pricey, but we can, let me just get my mouse back because I've lost everything here.
That's why they should be bigger.
Well, let's have a quick look at the other graphic there. That's the front view of it.
I like that better than the JD. I like the look. It doesn't look as packed in. But I still can't get my head around the boutique. What they actually for?
I was wondering, does the JX8P have core memory on it, like the Alpha Juno did?
Oh,
no. Interesting
question.
I don't think so.
It didn't.
No.
Okay.
Mine does. My MK70 doesn't.
Okay.
Unless I haven't seen it. But yeah. Okay. One really, really important thing to understand about this synth that is different to your Jupiters, but it's very similar to your Junos, and that is that the DCO oscillators kind of all fit in that similar family. So Roland went down that path, with the stability of the DCO oscillators versus the VCO oscillators that they had in the Jupiter. And as a result, it did lose a bit of its, warmth, I guess. So for those who like to compare Jupiters to the JX8Ps, they will definitely know that one sounds less warm than the other. I don't know if I'm going to buy into that argument. I actually think the JX8P or the Jupiter JX sounds beautiful, and the strings and the pads that it can do are so warm and so rich and so lush. And I think the chorus does add a little bit to that because it is an analog chorus. Yeah. However, we were saying before that it doesn't have ACB. So is that going to be a factor? What do you think, Brooksy? Go with you. Get your hand up.
Right. I want to pick up on something that Robbie mentioned in the chat, and I meant to mention when I was on before. If we look at this thing here again, have I gone the right way? No, that way. Got to go the opposite way. That's right. These things here. No, there they are on this side. These stupid things here. Yeah. Stupid things. Ever since I bought this, I realized that I hated these things.
You never use them, do you?
And I'm really, really glad that on the current boutiques with the JU06A, the new Juno, they're dispatched with these, and also the D51 and these new ones they've got, and they're using that space. At least that's a good thing. You don't need them; they're just daft. So that's a definite plus. I think with this the new JX again. The new the JX08. I think the size of the sliders and the spacing, I think it'll make it a perfectly usable module. I mean, the SH01A is really usable. It's not. It doesn't feel cramped when you're using it, and I suspect that will be the same. It looks nicely spaced. So I also like the fact that they've got the red, orange, and blue buttons on the left-hand side, because I think that throwback to the color of the touch buttons of the JX8P, I think is quite sweet.
Yeah, it is. It's really nicely designed. It's a very, very nice looking boutique, that's for sure. Sound-wise, Andy, what do you think? Sound-wise, do you have a JX8P or a 3P there?
I have a Alpha Juno.
And
as you can see with these sliders, they're about the same length. So this was never super long either with these editing sliders. Yeah, the PG300 is a nice little controller. There's also virtual versions of it for a long time, for not just for iPad, but for PC. So I love the Alpha Juno sound. I didn't know about the core memory. That's why I wanted to ask, because I thought they were similar engines, just, the AP was a little fancier. But like my friend in college had one. I sampled his a bunch, but I never had an AP before. But I'm definitely interested in this as well, not just because I like the boutiques, but it does look nice. It sounds great. And other than the size thing, it's a valid complaint. And also the jacks are kind of crappy on boutiques. They're just, not case attached, basically soldered on board, tiny jacks for everything, no quarter-inch jacks on anything. So they're not as solid connectors for them. But you do get the sequencer, you get the arpeggiator, you get all that other cool stuff that, it'd be a lot more work to do that on the original, hook up a bunch of gear just to do a jam. So it's nice to have those features on the go as well as in a small space. But the slider throw is not great on some of these originals. So yeah, it's definitely bad on the JP08, because they did this stupid thing where they tried to do the 2 layers in the small area, so they had to scrunch them down because they just they didn't make it more linear because there's so many damn sliders. So I can understand it's a big bugaboo for people, but these sliders are nice, and they're about the same size as the one that Andy was just showing. I have that one as well. It's really nice. Plus, to have an SH101 that's polyphonic is pretty awesome. So.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that is true. I think it was the first one which we started to think was, they were starting to get things right. I mean, the SE02 is also another good boutique as well. They definitely got that right as well. So there's some really good boutiques out there. I honestly think
also, this is the final countdown synth, right?
This is the final countdown synth. Yeah,
the famous final countdown synth.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Shout out to Dom, who's in the chat too. I just wanted to wish his wife get well. Obviously, because he mentioned last night that she's come down with the dreaded COVID. I hope she has a speedy recovery. It's not a nasty thing to get. Yes, okay, so that is it for news. We have got through it. Daren, I know you're a Juno lover. Do you want to just make a parting comment on the JX08 and tell us what you think about that one? I know you don't like boutiques anymore, but
I like it. Actually looks. I like the look of it actually compared to the JD. No, it's great sound. Can't knock the sound. Can't knock anything about it, and the added features. It's great. I just can't grasp this boutique thing. I mean, it's battery operated, so is it made for being really portable to take out with you? It's not really. I don't know. I just can't grasp it. I like it. I think it sounds great. It looks good, but it's just too small. If it was the size of an MC303, for instance, and they panned it out all onto there, I think I'd be probably getting one. And at £400 for something that small and tiny, and I'm going to be wearing these, and
yeah,
my fingers
it's portable. It's park bench approved.
Yeah, you can play with your Bastel. Yeah.
Well, it is. I will say that. Yeah, you're quite true there. I can quite get.
There's nothing approved for that park bench. Nothing approved for that park bench.
Well, that's true. Not now.
Apart from sandwiches.
I can. It's just. I just find them too small. I just think they'd be so much nicer if they were like even double the size. But then obviously you won't have your boutique. I know they backed themselves into a corner when they brought out the original size, because then everything had to fit into that boutique size, and that was sort of that was it. Then they couldn't really change the size. I understand, but I just think instead of trying to compete with the Volkers and Korg type, just go for something mid-range, so it still just looks great to have. Yes, all right, you won't get racks of them in your studio, but people buying for big studios like that wouldn't really want them anyway. They'd just have a proper like this. I could have a rack of them all that size. It'd be brilliant. Anyway, that's enough of mine.
Another problem is they want to hook a keyboard to it, so they have to think of that size too. You know,
that is true. Yeah,
it's going to add more size to it when you dock it. So,
well, that keyboard is horrible.
You won't be docking it with my version.
Just don't buy that.
Keyboard isn't great, but it is usable.
Jacks out, 1/4-inch jacks.
I think it's what it is it just goes to show that everyone has different sort of likes and dislikes, right? And I think I'm kind of with Daren, but in a different way. I think the form factor of the boutiques is slightly incorrect, and I would actually go the opposite way, Daren. I actually think they should have made it so that it was Euro-rackable, like what Behringer did with their stuff. If they made it Euro-rackable, I mean, it's only very, very slightly out of kilter for being. I mean, I know there's guys that have actually modded their boutiques to fit in Euro-rack. It's a bit of a hack job, by the way, so I don't recommend it. But they did that with the System 1M. Why couldn't they do that with the boutiques? And I think they would have lost a slightly bit of height on the panel. But like Brooksy said, you know, those stupid touch capacitive sliders, no one ever uses them. So anyway.
I think that's what happened when they first brought it out, didn't they? They didn't go one way or the other. They didn't go small enough to go into a rack so they could put it in a rack. And they went that slightly bit bigger than the Volkers, but now they're sort of stuck in a sort of halfway point.
Yeah.
Not quite big enough, but not quite small enough to fit in the rack and be usable that way. Anyway, carry on.
And I don't think
needed the sliders because the keyboard doesn't have it. So they needed some kind of modulation and pitch control. So it's not a great solution, but that's why they put it there. Because, you know, if you have a mono or polysynth, you got to have expression. And the keyboard has no aftertouch. So they really had to put the ribbons in, you know.
I always questioned it from the start, though, Andy, because, you know, I had never, ever had any intention of getting that little keyboard, ever. I mean, it was always ever going to be played from a full-size controller keyboard, which has got pitch bend and modulation on it. So I never understood why they felt it was important. I know that's not true. I do understand that in that format with that little keyboard and putting it in, isn't it great? It's all self-contained. But actually, I think by far the majority of users have just used them without that little keyboard.
The other thing too is, as you know, I've gotten different controllers over the years, like the Roland bendy stick, the standard wheels, joysticks, all kinds of stuff. Only recently have things had those ribbons on them, like the Arturia controllers and stuff. So another thing that's maybe good for some people is they don't have ribbon controllers. Now they do by buying this unit. So it's just another option too, to give you more different modulation controls if you only have sticks and wheels.
Fair share.
Yeah. Well, they could make another controller where you just smash your head against it and see what happens. Anyway, we will continue on with the next...
at the screen.
That's it. We'll go on with the next segment, which is Price Watch.
Rants. Don't say there's no more news. There's one megabit of news that you haven't actually mentioned.
What?
Or is that being saved up for next week? The fact that Korg have actually released the ARP 2600 Mini that's been sort of speculated.
That's, right, the small one.
That's actually out now. You're shaking your head. Did you not know about that one?
Of course I did.
Have you missed? Oh,
no.
Sorry. Don't wind me up like that, man.
I do not have to talk about that. We've already talked about the 2600M from Korg on the show, the fact that they'd released it was months later, and there's about 400,000 YouTube videos that have just come out in the last 24 hours on it. I think most people are pretty full bottled on it. All right, we're going to go price watch.
Oh, all right, I'll shut up. Sorry.
Plus, there was a lot of news anyway. Yes, this week's going to be good. We've got some really good gritty ones to get stuck into this week. Sink your teeth into these, people. Look at this one. Hey, what the hell is this? What the hell is this exactly? Behringer Edge synth for £9,999, including 20% VAT. You can't even get these things yet, so I don't even know how the hell that's come about. So there's scam number one. I do like the colour though. Where's Lisa? She likes the colour. I don't know if it's £10,000 colour.
I do like it as well.
What about this one?
It has a micro thermonuclear power cell, so you never have to put batteries in it.
You can smash your head against that one. Who likes to buy owner's manuals? £200 for an owner's manual? Come on, you're kidding me, aren't you? Wow. Plus, how does it cost $80 Australian or £40 in shipping to send a manual?
I'll fix the manual. I'll fix the manual.
It's A4. It's not that heavy. It's probably only about 30, 40 pages. It's really not very big. By the way, just so you guys know, you can actually get the TR909 manual through the Roland website for free as a PDF. Dear me. I love that one. That one's
How about the old Roland Secrets of Synthesis bundle for like a tiny fraction of that, and it's the original set.
Yeah, exactly. So someone's having a P155 there. Oops, I've accidentally pressed the wrong button. That was stupid of me. Okay, next one is this one. This is, this one's from you, Andy, isn't it?
Yeah.
You want to talk about this one?
Oh, so I saw these around for years. It's nice. Back when these things were kind of special and didn't have a lot of other, proper analog options that were either affordable or classic, I guess. Mm-hmm. But this one's crazy because it's a silver model, has a signature on the back of somebody. I didn't get a close-up look at the signature, but it's maybe somebody famous. I'm not sure. But it's a crazy amount of money for this guy when it's a decent model, but it's not not worth that much.
Definitely not worth that much.
I like their products. I have the like I said, the Zillion sequencer, which is really cool because it's a kind of probabilistic sequencer based on the Tridex Muse. But I think it's the only Future Retro thing I have. But they make nice stuff.
Yeah, and it's good quality. They've got the sort of 808 style buttons on that too.
And they're back too. That's why I sent this, because the Vectra. So
yeah, it's good to see them back. Absolutely. Well, you might as well talk about this one too, Andy, because you brought this one in. What about that? That's nasty.
Yeah. This is for synthy and sound. Some guitar fun.
Yep.
Some Chris. Where is he? He's probably sleeping.
Actually, I use a similar one to this for some stuff that's was $100 for this guy.
Yep.
So someone's just completely off the.
Yeah, but this is in mint condition.
Yeah, this is mint.
Well. Yeah.
There's some dust on the
Okay, you're
screen.
right. It's yeah.
At least they're not ripping this off.
I mean, they're
the
nice
shipping.
units, but it's crazy.
The shipping's reasonable. I'm happy with the shipping. I'm just not happy with the 25K. Far out. Hey? Jeez. By the way, these are real. I mean, like, I don't know if people watching this think, have we gone and photoshopped these? Someone asked me that during the week. Do you Photoshop your scams? No, we don't. They are real. They are absolutely screen grabs from Reverb or from eBay. Andy gets a lot of them. I get some of them. So yeah, they're real. The first one, the Behringer one, was from Facebook. So those Facebook Marketplace posts. Anyone can screw around with those though for a lol. Yes. End of the price watch section. Yay, we've reached that. We do. What was your favourite, by the way, before we go on to the next section?
Oh, the Edge.
Well, it's got to be that pedal, hasn't it?
The pedal, yeah.
The pedal is pretty good.
The Edge, the The pink edge. The pedal and the edge. Okay. No one liked the manual. I'm sad. I like the manual. I thought the manual was the best.
Well, manual I can understand if you're a super collector like old magazines, you know. People pay crazy money for pieces of paper. You know?
I've got my Pro 1 manual. That's worth silly money. It's probably worth more than the synth itself.
You could probably fake it. You could probably print it out, leave the paper out in the sun a bit, make it yellow.
I mean, I don't know if you guys ever bought the A to Z of synth books.
Yeah, don't need to fake it. It looks like that anyway, Ross.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, Daniel's got a whole heap of synth manuals. Yeah, you could be rich. You'd be rolling in it, Daniel. Go for it. Sell them all. Sell the lot. And make sure when you sell them that you charge exuberant postage as well, because then you'll make it to the synth scam section of this show, and that's just like life mission complete. You know, bucket list ticket. We jest. Right. What are we going to do next? We're going to do this. Yep, this. The new segment, yay! Yes, this is actually a lot of fun, and a lot of fun because Eddie's done it again for us, which is absolutely super awesome. I hope Eddie's still in the chat. I hope he hasn't fallen asleep. Here he is there. Beautiful. Good. We have another one for you to guess. Now, if you're new and you haven't watched this before, name that synth. What is it about? Okay. It is a little bit of a video, but mainly to do with sound. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a listen and see if we can guess what it is. And obviously, if we can't guess what it is, then Eddie, who's in the chat, will slap everyone about the head profusely. No, what we're going to do is eventually we will reveal what it is, but we'll have a bit of fun laughing at everyone how they didn't get it right. No, it's good fun. Right, so how it works is if you do want to put a video in for this segment, all you have to do is send me a link to a video that's private. Don't tell anyone about it. The video needs to be around a minute or under. It needs to be quite an obscure sort of part of the synth, so you're not really giving it away. It's got to be really difficult for someone to pick it from the part that you're showing. But really it's more about the sound. So the sound itself can't be anything other than the synth itself. So it can use the internal effects, it can use everything that synth can generate, but you can't add any effects, compression, outboard, anything. It's got to be recorded directly out of that. So having said that, why don't we have a listen to this week's submission? Big thank you to Eddie again. Let's go. Let's see who gets it. Keep it on, chat. Oh, okay. Do we have, I'm going to pause it there because the video actually does reveal what it is. Do we have a correct answer in the chat? Let me see who was the first. Okay, right. Nobody except Eddie and myself know what the answer is to this. So I am going to just quickly show you some of the chatties and their answers in here. I think this one was a bit easier than last week. Okay, let's reveal, because I think we might have some correct answers. Here we go. Whoops, woohoo, right, stop. What the hell are you doing? Okay, beautiful. We got it right, yay, FB01. I'm gonna get that video to come back to me. I don't know why it did that, because I wanna get the screen grabbed. Here we go. There we go. There we go. Beautiful. Right. So there is the Yamaha FB01 sound generator. I wonder if I accidentally gave it away by playing around with the MU1000 today. I don't think so. This thing is all kind of FME sounding. So, yeah. Well done to Brooksy. I think you were the first, weren't you, Brooksy, to get that one in the chat? So you get the bragging rights this week?
Oh, I recognise those buttons. I spent a lot of time staring at those in the past for one reason or another. Not mine. I've never owned an FBO one, but I knew a guy who did, and we did quite a lot of messing about with that and a CX5 computer. It was so what you could get. So those little buttons, and try to make that machine work with those little buttons was a pain in the bum. So as soon as it came up, I thought, bang, know what it is. So,
I thought maybe Eddie gave it away because he did show quite a lot of those buttons, and I think maybe if he showed a bit less, it might have been a bit more difficult. But no, absolutely beautiful. The audio
sound gave it away.
The audio was perfect on it, by the way. The audio was perfect.
The audio sounded great, actually. Yeah. And you've got to remember, it's a long time since those boxes were around, and nobody really's using them much these days, are they? Those FBO ones, because you'd have to have an editor to actually program the sounds. But I'm not sure I should be allowed to participate, says Efrov. All right, sorry, I'll keep out of it next time. sorry, Eddie.
Trust me, Brooksy has not seen the video.
Studio, I promise.
He has not seen the video. No. We operate here on integrity, and definitely hasn't. And if someone else guessed it before him, that he'd be. So Andy's got Brooksy's got bragging rights this week, so he can go around all week long, tell all of his mates, I guess name that synth, I am legend. Well, what's something like that?
So I've just been slapped down by Henrik because Henrik just said, yeah, Brooksy was first, but I was the first who spelled it right. But that's okay.
Spelled it right.
Yeah, it got a hyphen in it. I missed out the hyphen.
Yeah. You're wrong because you missed out the hyphen. Oh, don't you hate those quizzes that someone's mispronounced a surname slightly incorrectly and they didn't get it right? Big shout out to Eddie, as I said, F Rose in the chat. He's done 3 of them now, and every single one of them have been thoroughly entertaining. I absolutely love it. I'm sure you guys agree. Cool. It's a great segment. Some people say that we should do more than one. It's a bit hard for us to do more than one. I think it goes for long enough. If you do want to send one in, private message me or email me the link to your video. It has to be a minute, less than a minute long. It can't have anything else on it other than the synth itself, no external effects, no compression, no EQ, nothing, no treatment of the audio. It's got to be purely out of the back of the synth. Give us all a chance to actually identify the audio and obscure it as much as you can. I think Eddie probably did a better job the week before obscuring it. Other than that, make it as hard as you can for us to tell what it is. I mean, don't show the corner of a black part of a black piece of plastic. We're not going to guess that. Give us a little bit of a hint to what it is, part of it. But something you guys are probably thinking, I wonder what I could show. Wonder what's looking around your studio. What could I show? I was doing that today myself, thinking, what could I show? Definitely got some here that I reckon I could get you guys scratching the back of your head for sure. Right. Don't forget too, it doesn't have to be the outside of the synth. You could probably show the circuit board of the synth and say, right, guess what the synth is? And here's the circuit board of it. So Eddie's saying he's running out of interesting synths to show. So someone else needs to step up. If you don't, that's fine. I'll have one lined up for you next week if someone doesn't come in. But obviously if someone does submit one, they'll get in perfectly. Mac, you need to get over the fact that you've just turned 50. I turned 50 early this year. It's not a big deal, honestly. I think 40 people carry on a bit more about 40 than they do about 50. 50s, I'm cool with it. 50s, I'm actually kind of proud of it. Anyone else that's 50 here probably knows what I'm talking about. When you reach the old half a century.
You have to be because you've got no choice. You've
got no choice. Oh, that's not nice.
Yeah, just embrace it.
Yeah, you just roll with it. It's not a bad thing. I still feel a lot younger than what my age would stereotypically classify me as. I still feel a lot younger. I can still.
Yeah, I did that when I was on the park bench. I give them a different age.
well, bloody hell, Daren. I'm telling you now, the vice squad will be banging on your door any minute.
Oh, Daren, that's terrible.
You can't, honestly. Oh, no. Oh. You'll never get a job working in a school now. That's it. You've stuffed it. In fact, you've just probably scuppered my chance of keeping a job in a school. Oh, no. I'm going to have to make a formal disclosure.
YouTube's flagged the video.
Yeah. Just don't take your bastles out, whatever.
Oh, God. You've been hanging around Dave too long. That's what his problem is. The old fluffy purple thing's been rubbing off.
Headphones?
You guys are crazy.
I want to get earbuds now.
Oh, what a show, though, today. What a show. We had so much news. Yes, I did purposely leave out the 2600. I just didn't think we needed to talk about it. We've just been waiting for it to come out. It's come out. Okay, yay. Like, go check out 50,000 YouTube videos. The best one, I think, by the way, in my opinion, that if you're wondering what's the best one that are out there, is probably the Alex Ball one. I really enjoyed his. That was actually so well done. Because it wasn't just like crapping on about features and stuff. He just got in and showed us the essence of what that thing can sound like.
It was brilliant. And I want one. In fact, part of me in my own head is about possibly thinking of breaking a credit rule. I've told myself I'm not going to do credit anymore, but I think in this instance I might, because a bit like the Moog One and similar kind of synths. It's a big outlay, but it's also probably a decent investment. I mean, even the small one is probably a decent investment. What are you laughing at now? What have you just said?
Robbie, you are a shocker. You are a shocker. I don't know if I should show this.
I was going to actually. Oh, go on.
I don't know if I should show this. Sorry, Robbie sent me a photo. I have something planned, Robbie, and this actually might be perfect to show that. Oh my God, I'll just show it. I'll tell you about what I've got planned. Anyway, why not? Show you guys what's in store for the future. Okay, this is what Robbie just sent me. And then I'll tell you what he wrote as a caption. That's what Robbie just sent me. And the caption was, look, an Aussie on an Aussie. Well, you guys get it yet? You guys worked it out?
Nice garage.
Yeah.
What's the Aussie that it's on? The Fairlight.
No idea.
Yeah. Fairlight's made in Australia.
No. What is that big white thing with the green script? No idea.
Oh, shut up, Brooksy.
What?
You're an idiot.
True. No arguing with that one.
Screen.
I'm stressed.
It's actually really weird. No, you know how there's like these weird things that happen, and I have not spoken to Robbie on Facebook at all today, but the fact that he's just sent me that is actually really bizarre, because in the next few weeks I'm going to be doing a show which is going to be celebrating Australians and synthesizers, and obviously the CMI is going to be in there. It won't just be Australians that make synthesizers, it'll be Australians that play synthesizers as well. So, yeah, good segue for that. And obviously the CMI Fairlight's going to be a massive part of that show. I don't have one, so I don't know how I'm going to work that out. But maybe we might get Robbie on as a guest, even though he's not an Aussie. But he is definitely a CMI man. So, yeah. Anyway, we'll see how we go. Okay, we've kind of got to the end of the show. Now, yes, it is the end of the show, because I have been streaming for quite a long time. 3 hours and 3 minutes. There you go. Why? Because we did a big long pre-show, and I did it on purpose because of the clocks. Okay? So the main show was tacked in at the end. What did you guys think of today's sort of change to the times and everything? Was that a good way of doing it? Everyone wins that way, doesn't it?
I forgot. I just ended up when you were already busy.
I'd have more of a comment if I didn't have tech difficulties. So
Robbie says I can do a Kraken accent. I bet you can't. I bet you cannot. Everyone who tries to do an Australian accent fails. Unless you're like a really good actor that's good at doing accents, most people that try to do an Australian accent fail. They end up sounding like South African or something not, half English. I don't know. But yeah. Yes, you would have missed the first hour, Sensien. I do apologise for that, but it's still there. That's the good news. You didn't miss it because all you have to do at the end of this is go back and watch it on the replay. Hey, winner. So yeah, as Paul said, click like all your synthesists. Don't do Aussie accents. It's not a good thing. Don't even practice it. But yeah, thanks to that guy there, and that guy there. So that's Daren, Andrew, Andy, and Brooksy. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining me on the show. And also you guys in the chat. Thank you very much for joining us as well. It's been a good show. I've enjoyed it. Lots of news, lots of fun. And next week, we'll have more of it. So let's say goodbye. We should do like the end of the show. Goodbye.
Goodbye with my new toy. Bye.
Hey.
See you, everyone.
Draw.